Trump is still talking. So, guys, the volatility is still there. The cabinet meeting is still happening. Oh, we just finished. We just finished. I think he's kicking everybody out because CNN just went away from the coverage right now. So we'll have to wait and see. It's, yeah, Adair confirming that as well. It is over. Keep your eye on the market now. We are going to send you guys to the big kahunas. Joseph will be on tomorrow, and then we'll have a bit of a weekend. So we'll have to see exactly how we close out on Friday.
We got Good Friday.
Leave them with thought.
Yeah, just keep the risk measures in place, guys. Volatile market, everything along those lines. So you got to widen those stops most definitely, and try not to get too frustrated because there'll always be another day.
All right, guys, same bat time, same bat channel. Take it over, boys.
Nothing happens in these markets anymore. It's like this. There's just never anything that you've missed if you sit out lunchtime. You know, people back in the day, like, yeah, you come back from like a long stroll, or maybe you get up, go chat with some people, or whatever it might be. Oh yeah, okay, well, massaging my microphone over there. No, but like, it's insane. It's almost as if, Sean, every single day, something big is happening at lunch, which makes you just like do a double take. Like, you get up for a minute and a lot can happen. I can tell you that with, yeah, I mean, I'm out of all my positions.
I have a perfect example. I mean, come over here right now.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, go to, there you go.
So I went for a walk. I went for a walk, and I said to Neil, what the hell just happened? And I'm muted? No, I'm not muted. And then so I was like, was that real? So we got stopped. Anyways, we got there, and then we came back up, and we wound up getting stopped out of that trade at the end of the day. But right there, I was like, huh? So that was a 186 print. Like, sometimes you got to have your bids pending, but oh boy, some Apple trading was happening today. So, yeah, look, it's 203. You know what? I like this. Shout out to Brendan and I believe who did this. Look at our. If you click on our show right now, this is what you're going to get as the thumbnail right there. So we go, but yeah, press conference now over. And we're glad that everybody's now, morphed into the stream. So welcome once again. We're going to have a lot of fun here this afternoon as we wait to hear more and more and more from President Trump. And the market, the Nasdaq almost hit down 7%. We noted that on the midday show there, that of course it's not the 7% in the Nasdaq that matters. It's going to be the SPX. You got to go to the cash market for the futures, which is where we'll look for any possible halts.
I guess not anymore though.
Well, really? Yeah, you're only down. You're down now 3%. It's a huge battle back. I think the plunge protection team came in. I mean, that's just something that we've talked about for a long time, whether or not you believe in that or not. But that's just coming in, supporting the market. And I feel like they did that when the market was down near some of those lows. So, yeah, anyways, let's thank you for joining us here today. Tomorrow we have bank earnings, so we have an up and down day there for a stock like JP Morgan. I mean, that down again to 220, back up there to 228. So we wait to see where JP Morgan rests its head here today. And then tomorrow also Goldman, I believe, I'll have to look. I believe it's Goldman Sachs tomorrow as well coming through. And again, nice top to bottom action there on Goldman. We had a nice run up yesterday in those names. And then the name that I was looking to possibly trade here this afternoon, AMD. We missed that 90 breakdown, which happened earlier right here. And then we came back into that level again, $91 VWAP. So, with the way this market's moving right now, I feel like we are going to get some VWAP action, and that would be shortable for me on AMD. AMD only down 9%, and then
you know what's flying?
Hold on, I just want to check out one video, 1 second here. NVIDIA, wow, 103. I mean, some of these lows, Neil, I feel like we're going to go look back and be like, what? Like it was 88 on NVIDIA. We get 103 today on NVIDIA. But is the market done moving up? We'll find out. We're above VWAP right now.
NEO just broke the high of the day. So much for Chinese ADRs not wanting to do anything. Logically, why wouldn't we have the Chinese names go higher? So that just broke high of the day. I'm assuming XPeng and Li Auto and all that good stuff are all going. What's weird about this is we just got to VWAP on the ES and the NASDAQ, and I'm watching IBIT lag a little bit here. Like it's running into resistance in front of 80,000. It's like 79.5 right now. So I'm looking for it to join. Like if we start breaking away from VWAP here and going into some of the morning highs, then I want to look for a continuation play over in IBIT because it looks pretty. We've seen this before. Like if we get one of those like relief rallies in the afternoon, it tends to lift all ships, and if that happens, I'm down with IBIT here if it can break away a little bit. So yeah, some weakness over in Bitcoin. It's interesting. I was kind of like VWAP on AMD. I feel the same way about it as well. Some things have been bad all day, or weak all day, I should say. Even with that bounce, I feel like that's been a weak one.
Yeah, the only position, thanks to none in the chat. We are, just let them know that the position board is not updated. I myself did not notice that either, so thank you so much for that. All right, like, we'll talk about our journey. Sharif's gonna get ready, but the only position I'm in right now is this short Intel. We put this one on with you guys at 10:30, and then whoops, all the way down in there, all the way back into $19 again. So this was a good trade for me on Intel. We'll try to review that, over $1 on that. So do we trade? No, I don't know anything about that bank, Patrick.
That's
FNGA. What is that?
Bank of Montreal. Why would I want to trade?
FNGA?
And first of all, why would that be the ticker? That's a weird, and I didn't know until, what's cool about P-Pro8 is, like, I typed the ticker in and it shows me the name, like Bank of Montreal, micro sectors. Oh, no, never mind. It's an ETF. It's a FANG, it's the FANG ETF 3X. But it's the Bank of Montreal's.
Okay, so what's up to Patrick there?
It's not a bank stock. No, it's the Bank of Montreal, it's the Canadian bank. It's their 3 times levered FANG ETF.
It's like saying iShares.
Yeah, it's
like Bank of Montreal.
I didn't know that one. Look, I don't invest in it, so I didn't know that.
Makes sense. So FNGA, FANG.
Yeah, it's basically
FANG aggressive, maybe 3 times bull.
Well, I'm gonna guess that
I should invest in some of that.
But one of the other ETFs for this purpose might have a little more liquidity, I guess, if that's what you're looking at. But
what are you saying about the purpose ETFs?
I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, look, ultimately, there's a million vehicles out there that you can trade.
No, they have, Purpose was the ones that brought Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin.
ETCC and...
that's what I own.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what I own the bulk of my Bitcoin.
Yep, same.
Well, now anyways. Not before, but now. Once they made that ETF here in Canada, we got them in Canada before the US.
Yeah.
Like I piled almost all of my Bitcoin into that, so you can go in the tax-free savings account, which is great for the old buy and hold long term. But I'm going to guess... Wait a minute, we're curling a little bit here. I'm going to guess you guys want us to talk about some
How
Tesla,
was curling? Did you go curling? Or you got invited curling?
Okay, so, yeah.
Because it was your Achilles.
My neighbors invited us all curling, some people in the neighborhood. My wife played.
Oh, right.
And then their kids go. My daughter went with them on the weekend. But, like, I went to watch. I just didn't curl.
Yeah.
I think the next time I'll be able to go. I'm jogging now. So, at the time, my physio guy didn't want me on the ice risking. It'd be a bad look if I slipped on the ice and re-injured my Achilles.
Position board is up.
I'd probably cry.
No, don't do that.
If I re-injured my Achilles,
you only
the journey's
curling.
been long enough. I just hate.
Patrick, just real quickly again, it is not a good long-term. No, this is wrong thinking, Patrick. It's definitely good long-term. It's not good long-term. It will not go up 3x with the market. It's good to trade with. Remember, decay.
Yes.
You're going to have decay in anything 3x. I mean, I can, maybe, Patrick, just stay with us. If anybody's calls up, we can overlay charts. I'll do it on TradingView. I'll do it on eSignal, whatever. If you overlay like the 3 times AMD or whatever, that FNGA is going to be a problem because it's FANG, right? But if you 3 times the NVIDIA or the Meta or any of those, it's not going to be up 3x. They have to get options to be able to do that, obviously. So that's part of that problem. So we'll talk more about that. But right now we'll just go over to Sharif at the big board and we'll start doing the rundown. But you guys can look that up. That's a ChatGPT answer, I think.
As long as it's right.
Yeah, honestly. Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, everyone, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys are ready, locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there is to vote for them. The only way to vote for them is to join Joseph and I during the midday and get into that chat and vote for your favorite tickers, and then you'll have them on there. But you've got to be a subscriber in order to vote and engage with us in the chat. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing. Here's a look at the triple Qs, the 3-minute chart. Yeah, we're still down, guys. 4 3/4, certainly off the lows. We were below 7% today on the triple Qs. Kind of a double bottom looking pattern there. We'll see how this all works out. But yeah, off the lows. And we were very close to that circuit breaker. I'm sure the boys will get into that as the show goes on. 4.5% in the negative here. Sorry. 6.5% in the negative is NVIDIA, down into that 106 3/4 area. Yesterday, we got a headline about the H20, which is the China-specific advanced AI chip made by NVIDIA. It looks like a Mar-a-Lago dinner by Jensen Huang meeting with Donald Trump possibly put the pause on the restriction to the H20.
Deals getting made at dinner?
Yeah, we knew that would happen. Deals always get made around food. Yeah, what's wrong with that?
That's the best time to make deals, man.
On the golf course.
Well, in a general sense, I mean, hey, like everyone learned, if you did business class,
imagine President Xi going on that golf course with Trump. They're on Mar-a-Lago. They're chilling out. They're wearing their shorts. You know, they got those deals talking about.
Have people with a positive attitude or do something cooperative or a good meal, and that's how you get people ready to make a deal. Look, obviously, it doesn't need to. It goes without saying, any headline and deal at any moment is what's going to be bullish here. But I don't think our reprieve isn't done. You just had a monster. You just had a big topping tail on the NQ just here. I was looking over to see if we'd get AMD and VWAP. That's obviously not going to happen now. Earlier on, there was good support on NVIDIA. There's been a few like little scalp opportunities on NVIDIA longs. But it seems like 108.5 and VWAP is not looking good. Someone in the chat just said or asked a question at me, which is an easy answer. And it was like, do you think AMD or NVIDIA is better for the long term? NVIDIA. Plain and simple. And it's not just because one daily chart looks, oh no, that's right, it's not split adjusted. Well, whatever. I don't need to show you the NVIDIA chart to understand why. I can show you the AMD chart to understand why. It shows you everything you need to know. Great recovery day yesterday. Yes, because it's been beaten up so much, when it gets a relief rally, it's at the point that its percentage gains end up bigger than NVIDIA's. So that goes without saying. So for trading vehicle, some of the longs in AMD in this market are going to end up better because of how far it's fallen and just that kind of a price dynamic. But at the end of the day, I much prefer NVIDIA. I think if I'm looking between the two, I showed you the resistance on NVIDIA just now. I think if we get anywhere near 88, forget about VWAP. Shorting pops in AMD is the way to go, while keeping in mind that it's down 10.5%, which makes it SSR today. The uptick rules in effect, and tomorrow. The same is not true. Wait a minute. I don't think it's true of NVIDIA. It is not true of NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA didn't go 10%.
Yesterday?
No, today. It did go 10% NVIDIA.
Today?
It did. It did. It's really close.
Oh,
it's really, really close. I'm not sure. It's real close. Might have.
Well, we have SSRN right now, so I don't think on our screen showing no, but we'll check it out. Yeah, look, I mean, today we liked NVIDIA, and I liked it back into sort of yesterday's levels there, and we were all boo-hoo when we had missed it the first time. But I guess it's all good now because we had wrote down 107. It popped up. That's $4 that, you know, again, spilt milk, but we coulda, woulda, shoulda had that move, and we had gotten out of it. And we talked about like trying to find our way here early, and then it was see ya. And if you tried that 104 again, it only went down to 107 again. It did go down to 106 and then bounce back to 107, so it did give you an opportunity to get out at least if you were in that trade. But at the end of the day, pretty negative here, man. I mean, the Nasdaq down, this market down, it's down 7% off of VWAP. We said that we would look for some VWAP trades here this afternoon, so I think that's what we'll have to do. Looking for VWAP trades, playing momentum downside. Even though the futures are kind of back at VWAP right now, well, just were back there. As long as we stay underneath, we have to be short. So I still think there's more pain to go. And if you're thinking about where to buy NVIDIA, as someone, you know, just answered the long-term question, I mean, in this area, I would think, if the market, we still have earnings season to go. NVIDIA is going to be the last to report of all the big tech names that you're worried about. And I don't know. I don't know if we retest the very lows, which is why I'm saying I think you can dip by into this area. But tomorrow's banks, the Nasdaq's just a slip up away again from making to the downside move. We got about 1% away from already halting. So if something does halt, NVIDIA is going to get crushed. So I would just say, watch out now. I'm trying to stay net short. The only position I have on right now is Intel, and we don't have Intel on the board. But for as far as a chip name goes, we really, I've been hating this name for a while, and today down 10% should surprise nobody. So we held that short today, and it is paying out right now a little bit. So yeah, we really like the trade. I'll probably exit a little bit more on Intel right here. It's still 215. We are going to get into more trades. Just right now we're going through the rundown. So for me, it's going to be probably a futures afternoon. So we're going to get ready to look there and get some more out of Intel. Reef.
Tesla next here, guys, down aggressively as well, below 250, down 8 3/4. Multiple analyst comments today on Tesla, starting with Goldman. Goldman maintaining their sell rating on Tesla and lowering the price target down to 260. Mizuho maintains outperform on Tesla, but lowers the price target down from 430 to 375. Likewise with the UBS, maintains their sell rating on Tesla and dropping that price target, guys, from 225 down to 190. So negative comments all around.
Ooh. Well, I mean, the good news is that price target is above what I think is the next level of support, 190, because 180, it looks to me like that's the bigger wall underneath. Yeah, so Tesla, what can you say about? I didn't think we'd fill in gaps today the entire way. I remember saying this morning, and I'm 99% sure I said this, that when you're pulling in these gaps, like anything that had that prior high in there, in Tesla halfway through the gap at 249, look for some dip buys. I mean, NVIDIA was an example of something that actually managed to hold at that level. Tesla, as you can see, when it got there, it basically just fell all over itself right through. Like there was just no stopping. And all of a sudden, that prior resistance at 250 from 2 days ago is looking like resistance once again. So it's almost like, yeah, back on the road to 220. Are we really doing this? Are we just going right back into 220? Kept thinking yesterday, yeah, let's get some extension. Let's go back into the 280 level. But no, it does feel like momentum-wise, unless we get some other headline that moves us in the other direction, we could just be resuming trend back in here for Tesla. That's a name that I said I'm not rebuying down at these levels. For the afternoon, I mean, VWAP hasn't done much of anything for you, but if you look at where it's topping out, the opening range low seems to be resistance, and that's 253. I think if you're looking to short that, maybe that instead of VWAP. I just got into Nike because we're looking at some names here, and some things have bounced well. Nike's really been bad today. I didn't recognize it until I was kind of going through some stuff. Yeah, Nike down like 10%, but I just got into this. Want to play it back to this local high, and then even take another shot at the opening range for 54.5 there on Nike. But they're catching a bid with the bid of the market. That's been an ugly one on the daily.
I think I'm just going to move over to Rivian because we're keeping it real with Randy. It's our new segment, and it was great on the midday show. I think Randy and everybody may be onto something a little bit here with Rivian because whether or not you like the company or not, it seems like it's bouncing in and around this $10 mark. So, we know that Tesla is obviously a stock that can bounce around with the market. It's proven that, year over year. Like we've already told you last year at this time, Tesla was 140. So the fact that it's still at 230 is, or whatever the level is right here, is still pretty good, right? So I just wanted to say that Rivian hasn't really had sort of the ups, 250 for Tesla, hasn't really had too many pain points yet. And I just thought that if we did flush into that level of $10, that's a decent area to pick something up, American made. We talked about this is going to be the talk for 4 years now, right? Like build in America and everything. So Rivian, as long as they can, they've burned through a lot of cash, and it's a problem, Rivian. But again, if they can feel like get the prices down, which these tariffs won't help with that. But I wanted to look here because it's always on my mind. We keep talking about this in and around that 1050 area. If Rivian can get back into that, then all good. We had Ford on our watch list, and we're going to go back over to Sharif and talk about Apple. But, Ford today, again, some of those bottom levels, they're $9. We sort of broke through there at noon, made the move all the way back to 915, broke through again, then the move again. So I'm almost thinking that 9, there's a little bit of garbage underneath there today, but I'm wondering about $9 on Ford. So if that comes into play, that could be something that we pause and have a look at here into the end of the day. So we'll have a look at Ford later if it gets near $9. So another not bad name, but it's not the greatest to day trade. Neil and I have highlighted that a couple times. So, all right. That's that. A name that I love to day trade, and you guys would know that, is going to be Apple. So let's go find out if it's a red Macintosh Apple or is it potentially a Granny Smith Apple
I didn't
today?
eat my apple today.
It's all Macintosh here, Sean. You're not going to find any green apples up in this place. Up 100, above $190. It goes right now, down 4 1/3. One of the better performing Mag 7 names on the day. I think Google a little bit stronger than Apple today. 145% is the number now, guys. That's the tariff on Chinese imports into the United States, and that affects Apple directly because the majority of their iPhones are made in China. And this is what it would cost, according to Danny Ives of Wedbush, if the iPhone was manufactured in the United States. A light, guys, $3,500.
Would that actually happen? Nope. Nope.
That's just that guy's guess. I mean,
Nope.
Mr. Ives.
Oh, what happened?
No earnings tonight, eh? Okay.
I thought there was.
Was there? I'll have to double check.
Maybe somebody small. Whoa, okay, chart. Nike just blew through 54, so the VWAP's wrong on this. It just blew through VWAP. I got to close this chart and reopen it. I just wanted to show everybody because that blew through VWAP. I don't know what's going on with that chart. Close it and reopen it, and that'll be fine. But it just broke through VWAP, so I'm getting out of Dodge. We just accelerated big time. Like everything I'm looking at just popped up as Apple just went back into 191.5. I didn't hear anything. It could just be the regular ebb and flow that we've been doing.
I didn't hear anything either.
No, we just traded it once. I traded it once off of VWAP, but there was that headline, this bottoming tail wick, which was seemingly negative. Was like nobody, no individual country, no individual company will get special deals. And that had Apple with that down wick and then up, presumably because the whole investment thing, hey, if you make more investments, it'd be good. That was seen as negative. But now you're starting to trend back up. If we remember what happened yesterday, remember what Apple did twice? Well, okay, once because the first time it was more about the announcement. The second time, it was just a buy program, which was on your 3-minute. Every single candle is bigger than the last. So if it breaks out doing the same thing, which it has not done yet, by the way, and holds all this green, it could be worth a join. We've seen Tesla do this before. We've seen Apple do it before. But then everything looks exactly the same to me. This is not like a strictly Apple thing. Whatever is going on now could just be a continuation of the relief rally. I don't know. But Apple went from looking like a potential reshort or retry at 190 to absolutely not. Not at 90 anyways.
All right, so Apple for me, again, a pretty good stock here today. Like we were short early. We wrote down 194 on the sticky note. We had that. It broke it. Then just as we were leaving you, it was 11 o'clock. We were going short underneath VWAP because Apple had broke it. And so once that move came back up, we had said you can't always wait for the ultimate tops. That's for sure, especially when it's already ran it and it's an hour later. So we shorted underneath VWAP, and we're lucky enough that it just kept on doing this. So down it goes, man, right back in. We should be short the Nasdaq right now. It's at VWAP. Right back in on Apple. Huge move to the downside. Like I was saying, man, luck is on my side here today because I was doing laps here when this was happening, and we had some lower bids, but we came in and it absolutely collapsed. So then we reloaded the short there live on the midday show, and we told you guys about that, and then we shorted it at 190 on the auction. Then that made the move down, and then we shorted it again here. We were able to get that wick on that news that Neil was talking about, like as if it was real. I can't even believe that even happened, but it did. And then we got stopped out once it broke through VWAP. So back and forth here for Apple, but a huge day there. And just lucky enough to short it, get out near the bottom there of 184. So Apple's going to be in the penalty box for me for a very long time. I mean, it needs to get figured out. We need to hear more talk from Tim and from Tim Cook and from Don, like acting like he's my good friend from Tim.
Yeah, Tim's
there. So yeah, I have a cousin named Tim, but he's not in charge of Apple. If he is in charge of Apple, why do I have an Apple 12 Pro here? I need to have a bit better one than that. But as we go, that's it. So Apple, we're going to wait, man. I think it's a short until we break 200. How about that? Does that make any sense? So we'll short Apple. We'll look for some good levels, but I'm not going long until 200 or we get those bottoms in the 180s one more time. All right, Sharif, let's go.
4.4%. Another one in the negative here, guys. All these Mag 7 names are all down is Amazon. Some conflicting reports today, though. Interesting stuff here. So Amazon cancels some China orders after tariffs. Vendors to hike U.S. prices was the headline that we got this morning. But Andy Jassy was on Squawk Box this morning, and he said he's not seeing any significant growth on discretionary items, not seeing anyway meaningful impact from all the noise around tariffs. So a bit of a mixed message there, guys.
Jassy, huh?
Yeah, you know what's... Someone asked me in the chat, like, what do I think about Caterpillar at these levels? I think in this moment, you got to put things in different buckets. Like, I still have, like, I put Amazon and, Meta's next. Of course it is. I have Amazon and Meta in the, I'm willing to be in at these levels, be a buyer, which I already have. But when someone asked me about Caterpillar, I go, the second I start hearing tariffs and economic slowdown and all that nonsense, I'm away from that. I'm not feeling it. That's the kind of name that I just don't want to be buying with that kind of a recession concern. Amazon, I feel, is a little bit, not recession proof, but I think it's in a good spot. All of that said, sometimes support turns into resistance, and that's not a good thing for overall momentum. Seems like a little bit of that is happening today for Amazon. It's similar to Tesla in that prior high. If you throw out yesterday, which was an exceptional day where you're gapping through everything, and you just go back and look at the previous day's high, if you just ignore the exuberant event, that mattered. And we just dumped right off at 186. So as we're pressing into it this afternoon, whatever's going on, I mean, there's no headlines going through, but whatever's pressing here, I think up in here at 186, which ended up being support there, I think that could be a short zone for Amazon. But yeah, sometimes you got to look back and like the prior resistance before the crazy event can still be valid. That happened today on Amazon. Still like the company, maybe slightly prefer Meta, but flip a coin, they're both good.
So we only had 5% left of Intel, and I just took a piece out right here because, again, market's breaking through VWAP, so we'll look better at that in a minute. So Amazon, again, we really like the name. I like the name. I think we've talked about that over and over again. It sucks how far down it's come, but down another 5% today. I don't know if it's dip buying opportunities here or not, but, this area, I really like the profile from yesterday's lows. Like if we can get anywhere into 170 again on this name, let alone many names here in this market, I like all those plays. So for me, Amazon dip buy opportunities, I think is something that we should be looking at. So yeah, definitely something that I'll be looking at in my own account now down to 170 and change. But that's Amazon. And I still really like the AWS aspect of this. And he was talking about how I think it was discretionary items were still selling a lot. So a lot of those will come, I guess, from China, like, the toothpaste of the world or whatever items he was meaning by that, some of the smaller items. So I do think that if these tariffs do stay, Amazon does have some downside catalysts. But again, like the catalysts are already in the air, right? So, we're looking for new things to talk about. And right now, until tariffs sort of clean up with China, I think Amazon still suffers a little bit here. There's your 200 period right at $200. So again, maybe it's like that same Apple talk here. It's sort of in that penalty box until it's not. And I'd like to see us get through all this last 2 weeks, like back above that April 2nd level would be fine for me for Amazon. And again, long term, I think Amazon's only getting stronger in the retail sector. So, we want to buy best of breed, and Amazon for online retail is definitely the best of breed. So I'm happy with that, and we'll just continue to hold on to it and see where we go. I like Amazon, so we'll go from there. Alexa, what's Sharif's next topic?
Hi, Sean. It's Meta. No, 5.5 or 5 1/3 here in the negative, recovering off the lows is Meta. Piper Sandler chiming in today, maintaining their overweight rating on Meta, but dropping that price target, guys, from 775 to 610. Should remind you guys that that the headline on Monday was that Llama 4 was released by Meta, which is their open source model AI. Multiple versions of that. The one we're waiting for in the second half of this year, Behemoth, guys, supposed to be said to be quite good when compared to some of these others.
Behemoth, eh? Love that ride Canada's Wonderland, the Behemoth.
Yeah, it's a good ride, yeah.
I get to go on a few more this year.
Leviathan is...
Well, my daughter's now, she reached like that next height level, so you can go to a bunch of other stuff. So when I go to the park...
Is she fine with those roller coasters, you think?
Oh, yeah. It's just some of them, like all the big stuff she couldn't go on last year. So this year, little growth spurt, she'll be able to do them all. Look, Meta, disappointing today because I thought Meta was going to do a better possible defend of the 200 period. Nothing could withstand the down move that we had, so it essentially never had a chance. I think we're headed back into the upside. It feels like we're headed back into the upside on essentially no story that I'm aware of. It could just be a relief rally, and Meta's not usually one I would trade. Like if I'm sitting there saying, okay, well if Amazon gets back up to that, prior like support, the resistance level, the opening range high, I'd fade it. I like Amazon at that fade more than I would like Meta. I sort of already went over the fact that I like Meta. It's one I have already bought it. So if it goes back to 500, don't at me. I'm not buying it again. Again, I'm not a big fan of after it's broken the 200 period, just keep buying it at the same price. And the idea would be, let's wait a quarter and see what happens. I mean, if it's at the same price a quarter later after this next round of earnings, that's a different story. For Meta, I only expect the PE to get better at this point, barring really like an actual recession that harms their advertising business, which is possible, could. But for today, if we do get into that morning resistance level, I'd be looking at Amazon a little bit more than Meta in here. Still a good name, still like it. People are saying there is news. I'm plugged in. I haven't seen anything new since we came back on, but if I'm missing something, let me know.
Yeah, we will. I mean, the market is rallying. Intel's back up to VWAP. We could start shorting VWAP in here on Intel again. Just want to make sure. Yeah, $20 VWAP. Okay, let's try some Intel love here. We'll get some now. Oh, now it's falling down. Come on, Intel, get down. Okay, wow. Well, we tried 99s, we tried 98s, we actually even tried 97s, and there goes Intel all the way up to $20 and to VWAP. We're done the rundown if you want, Andre. Neil just talked about Meta.
Yeah, we just
talked about the same sort of thing there. All right, so I'll go short. We'll cancel our 98. We'll take a 97. We don't want to stop out immediately on a VWAP break here on a VWAP break here on Intel. But I always look to see, especially when we're a little bit later on in the day, it can be very dangerous, of course, to sit here and just take every fill at all times and only take VWAP. And you saw Neil get out of Nike there when that sort of went the other way. I think you got to figure, what's good here. And right now, that $20 could be good. It just bounced off there in 2-3 consecutive minutes. I wish I was looking there. I was not. And then I'm just going to go up a little bit and give it to this area here, $20.10. If I can't give Intel 10 cents, then I'm not doing something right. So we're going to have to wait to see if that happens. We're going to try to get short again here. And we just missed it. You saw me chase it down. Man, now that's a little bit frustrating. So we'll get frustrated on that, of course, because I put a 99, it didn't fill. I put a 98, then 97, and I was just chasing it down. This is where you should just mark it in. Like I could have marked it in. I'd be short right now at 98, and there it goes, nicely fading back in 10 cents. So that's obviously when we put our trades on, it's on us. But that one definitely was an idea there that we should have supported and just nailed it to the downside. So we'll miss that one. We talked about looking for names that are going to be at VWAP, so let's just continue to do that.
GameStop's at VWAP.
Not other than GameStop, but right here, we can look at GameStop. 89, I was just joking about GameStop. I think Neil's looking at it. Right here, 89. So we came close to that, so we're $1 away there for AMD. If we're talking about stocks or the chip names, then obviously SOXL should be somewhere near VWAP as well, and that's actually coming back in. Now, I haven't traded this in a minute, 25%. I think we'll probably look at SMH instead, but the market is getting hit now back to the downside, probably being led by some of these chip names, as we just saw Intel fall. I don't know how high.
AMD,
well, we just looked at AMD.
We did already.
It got to 89, but we weren't there. That was where the short was. And then Apple right here actually down $2. It's just funny when we talk about these names now because the violent moves that's been happening here. Like that's just $2 in 5 minutes. Like that's not normal for this market. So needless to say, we're not at normal times.
Not even close.
So maybe if we break,
we're at new normal times.
Yeah, new normal. Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, I feel like we're I mean, in the last couple of days, we started today, we were like, oh, the Nasdaq's only down like 2.5%. You know, that's just like any other Wednesday, or what day is it? Thursday? I don't even know the day. And then all of a sudden it went down even further. The Nasdaq almost got down 7% right here. It wasn't there. It was right here, 12:30.
I almost thought it got there.
Yeah, it was right here, actually. It was 12:30. That's 11:30 Chicago time, right? So 12:30 Eastern, the Nasdaq went down like 6.8% or something like that. The halt level, remember, is 7 on the ES. The ES only got to 6% down at that time right here at 12:30. So yeah, now a nice little bounce up. It looks like we're starting to get faded again. So we'll look to get some shorts. If there's any names, the only trade that we've been in and out of here has been Nike, and since this show started,
and
we did
GME.
And GME, good, yeah, sorry. And then we had talked a little bit about Intel, and I covered some there and just covered some again. So yeah, looking for some shorts. Put some names in the chat. I'm sure there's tons that we're missing. Maybe even, yeah, so shaky trades, that could be true. Maybe it was down 7% at one point, but remember the halt that we've confirmed, thanks Brendo for that, is only on the on the SPX.
I agree. I think I did see it for a brief second. I think I saw it tick 7% as well. Either way, they defended that level. They. You know what? To this time, I am saying they, because it really did feel like today we had the plunge protection team behind it that low, and everything turned around. I was actually in GME at that time when we made that bottom. It was a big time bottoming tail candle on everything. Like if you were short, you were probably thinking, yeah, it's probably a good place to get out. But right at it was about 25.25 is turned into resistance on GME. So I'm just shorting that level into the volume weighted average price. If it breaks the trend heavier to the downside, maybe it's something to add on the way down. But if you break out that top, we'll want to jump out of it. I did just get filled right out in front of 10 there. We'll see if we can get another entry, but it has to close under the trend line to do so. There's a lot, like we said, there's a lot moving around that maybe we didn't catch this morning. I'm just pointing out one because you were just mentioning the chips that has been really good today. I'm not just talking my own book. It's really been, ARM has been trending pretty decently to the upside since that bottom. Like it's higher highs, higher lows. When I juxtapose that with, say, an AMD, which we're watching for the opposite reason, like it's just going right into the same high at that 89, whereas you've got some strength coming out here in ARM. The only downside is it still has that terrible spread on ARM. So I'm looking for some relatively strong names as well for some continuations to the long side. ARM, if liquidity was better, maybe. Micron is starting to pick up. And a lot of these names are SSR, like Micron short sell restricted. It's putting in some higher lows right now. If it could bust through VWAP and this market goes parabolic, I think I'd want a long in an SSR name, like a name with the uptick rule in effect. And there's a few to choose from today, Micron being one of them, obviously AMD, but I feel the short there. And our very good friend, everyone's good friend, Tesla. And there's that bottoming tail. Like when the Nasdaq hit that 0.7 down, there were a lot of bottoming tail reversal candles in there, regardless of what you were looking at. Trust me, they were obvious outs. Like BABA was an obvious out. You could have reversed all those longs. I don't know if I'd touch BABA to the short side again, though. Just the Chinese names seem kind of strong today, based on what I'm seeing. So I'm looking for some trend reversals, like we're trying in GME, VWAP plays, or just something going nuts. Like if it's something doing exuberant volume, like nothing's really popping off on my trade rate scanner today or this afternoon. I mean, today obviously it was, but right now it's nothing too crazy when I look at the trade rate. Like it's not blowing my mind. It's the names I would expect, and none of them are quite at the levels I want.
All right, what's up now? Tariffs. Here's our guy right here.
Get out of here, nice.
Yeah, we're taking the lead here. Corey Connors right here, taking the lead on the Masters, tied with a couple of Englishmen. Yes, my friend, the Masters has started. The purse is only $20 million. So, you know, I don't know how much the winner will get of that, but that is quite large. Probably the largest purse, obviously, as, you know, we keep getting higher and higher right there. But there's Corey Connors. There's probably the eventual winner. Shout out to Scotty Scheffler. Colin Morikawa always does well, but we'll have to see how he does on Sunday. There's our guy Bryson DeChambeau coming into play again. And just a quick little look here. Patrick Reed, not too many people are liking that guy. And that's about it. Where's my guy Nick Taylor at? Where's my Canadian? He won the Canadian Open. There he is. Nick Taylor, let's go, my guy. Up +2 right now through 8. So I don't know. I don't know where Rory is. I mean, I guess I could just do a little search for that, but it doesn't look like he's anywhere in the top 10. Hey, what's up, Bubba Watson, man? A blast from the past over there. You know, married to who, Neil?
Oh, should I know this?
Yes, Paulina Gretzky.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
So, you know, there it is, man. You know. Oh, there's Rory. What up, Rory?
He's there.
There he is right there. -1, tied for 11th. Paulina Gretzky, good pull for my guy, Bubba Watson.
I just saw a few names I recognize.
Yeah, man, you should recognize
No.
Jason Day.
Phil Couples is doing well. He's ancient now, but I guess some of the older guys get a chance to play.
They do, as long as you've won.
Every now and then they surprise.
As long as you win the Masters, you get to play it for unlimited amount of until you're dead, basically. Jack Nicklaus tees off every year, and I think he just plays like the first couple holes. Jack Nicklaus.
Trying to find. I guess maybe they.
Spieth, eh?
I'm thinking maybe Profit X closes it during the rounds, maybe.
Dustin Johnson. Yeah, that's it. It's not Bubba. Not Bubba Watson. Dustin Johnson.
Dustin Johnson. We were talking about John Daly yesterday.
That's Paulina Gretzky. Dustin Johnson.
John Daly, the man, the myth, the legend. The most I like Payne Stewart, obviously back in the day, but yeah, John Daly's one heck of a character for sure. Let us know what you guys are watching in here as everyone is in the Masters. We never did our pool, by the way. I guess we could still do it technically tomorrow after.
Well, what was I mean, I was gonna do it yesterday, and then I was like,
we could.
Something happened yesterday. I don't know. The market did something, and then I got.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, something was going on. I can't
what
remember what it was,
happened
but
yesterday?
yeah, we got a little distracted there, and then could have done it. I guess I could have done it last night, but
Nah.
I was outside playing football with my daughter for an hour, 20 minutes yesterday. Dude, she throws a better spiral than probably anybody in this room. Like I don't even know what to do with her. She goes to volleyball. She goes to her first volleyball, and it's just a house league volleyball. And the guy's like, "Have you ever played volleyball before?" I'm like, "Just don't even. I don't even want to." She cannot do like another. House league is one thing because, or like the weekly stuff. The minute you have to commit to rep, I mean, those of you guys that know,
it's too
like
much.
She already plays, and I coach the rep baseball. It's a lot already, but yeah, there's just a lot involved with rep sports. And if you do more than one, you can't do. You almost can't do two in the same season.
That's the
so
trouble.
if you do baseball, you kind of can't do soccer, and if you do, anyways, yeah, that's it. So she ain't doing volleyball for that. But what are you looking up there, Profit X?
Yeah, you know what? I'll do it later. I was just trying to. Well, you had it up, and I was looking up the Profit X to see if I could find some good. A lot of the actions on Scotty Scheffler, for obvious reasons. I guess the famous guys get all the the yes/no props on them. You can't really get too many of the no names. But shoot, where are we going? Yes, Dax Ryan. Rep is, here in Canada they call it rep. It's the same thing as travel ball in the States. Like in the States, you guys call it travel ball, but it's just rep here in Canada. Some people will call it travel, but it's the same. Or some people call it select. That's the other thing. Sometimes you have 1, 2.
No, select is different for hockey.
Hockey's all different. Baseball, I thought you guys meant. In baseball, some people will call it select, some people call it travel ball. I've always known it as rep because that's what it was when I was a kid, and I still think that's what they say now. Like usually you'll have one team per city, maybe you'll have 1 or 2. Some cities have like 3. They used to have 3. Just very quickly here, GME got some at 1-1, got out when it lost at 1-1.
If she was a boy.
The next time I even think about it short is up top. It's 26 where we had it before, where we actually got stopped at the top and then jumped back into GME, but it's got to be at 26. It's starting to go. So we got one profit out, and now you're starting to ramp up a little bit here to the upside. For real? Yeah.
More
well, you know what? I've heard some of those
even more.
before.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, by the time you go to tournaments and everything, it gets to be pretty.
I know a kid was like some.
What am I doing? Why am I long? I'm
states.
short in town.
Sometimes it's like going down to like the Dominican and for baseball because you got to go to the nice weather.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have to go for hockey this year. We went to Buffalo for 1 year for one game. I went for a tournament, yeah.
In Buffalo?
The Buffalo Bills, right there. So, yeah, no, that was fun. We had fun in Buffalo. Dick's Sporting Goods.
I love
there.
Buffalo.
We love Dick's Sporting Goods.
You can't go. One of our good friends, I can say his name. It's not a big deal. I'm not saying his last name. Stevie, you can't go on a road trip to the United States without stopping at a Dick's Sporting Goods with that guy.
No, well, I mean, it's amazing. That's we don't have anything too much like that around here.
Well, no, but
Come on, my guy, not Sport Check. But anyways, yeah, Sport Check is still good. We don't have too many Canadian.
Sport Check is not even.
Dick's Sporting Goods is nice.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay, by the way, guys, spin it one more time. What's up? How about another dime piece? We like dime pieces around here. There it is again, another one on our whatever it is I guess it's not, doesn't have a gender. There goes Intel right there. Let's go. We told you we're shorting 97s. There's VWAP. Now it's back into 85. So we get another one. As we talk about Corey Connors, as we talk about Nick Taylor, as we talk about golf, we hit it right back in one more time. There it goes, man. There's Intel. We told you we're shorting stuff on VWAP. So we get Intel in our pocket. Now let's see where we have to go. So nice move back into the downside here for Intel. Yeah, shout out to Stevie, but you also don't want to travel anywhere with the guy, period, not just across the border. You got to watch your P's and Q's with that guy as we go. But
I can't tell that story.
No, we're not here to tell.
Can't tell that story.
Oh, we can. Well, I mean, we could, but at the end of the day, no, we have a lot of characters in our friend crew. That is for sure.
I can say, yeah.
I'm getting some more out here of Intel, only because I just don't know where.
I don't trust.
The market's at VWAP, so if we can take advantage of this move, we'll do it.
Yeah, the market's at VWAP, AMD's at VWAP as well. The other thing is these are all SSR, right? So any bid you catch, it's not like it means the stock can't go down when it's SSR. It just means when it catches a bid, it's easier for it to rise than it normally would be. So think of it that way. Like every single upward move just has a little bit more juice to it when a stock has the uptick rule in effect. So I'm looking at that VWAP entry, which I didn't even get all of. There on AMD,
Intel.
And now we're starting to go. But I have us at VWAP on the north side on the Nasdaq on my chart, right? So if we bounce off VWAP, I want to take that profit. If we plunge through, then I want to make sure we're holding through. So if we bounce off VWAP, I want out because I have the Nasdaq is holding above the volume weighted average price. If we bounce off that, I think there's a chance that we could actually go higher, which we're trying to do right now.
Right, we're out of more than half of our Intel trade now. So we just got some 77s, I believe. Yeah, 77s and 78s
we're above
there as we went to the downside right now. So I do want you guys to make sure that you do check out this Forex Vim right here. If you're tired of staring at charts all day, what if a robot could trade for you? Well, meet Forex Vim. That's VIM. Forex Vim is an AI-powered trading bot that scans markets 24/7, executes trades automatically, and even, this is the most important part, manages the risks for you. There's no emotion, no guesswork, just precision trading on autopilot. It works on MT4, so it specializes in gold trading and comes with an easy setup and customer support. Want a stress-free trading? Try Forex Vim today. Visit Forex Vim, that's forexvim.com, or click the link in the description box. So go check that out. Hey, look, I mean, we talk about managing risk every single day. There is nothing more important. I mean, we're going to sound like broken records, but if you don't have stop orders out, then some traders, and I don't really like addressing, well, I mean, I like addressing everything, but there's some traders out there that says, my guy doesn't trade with any stops and it's much better. Like it's up to everybody. What we can always tell you is just base your trades on something and make sure that, if you're saying I'm going to get short here and my stop isn't until whatever happens on Friday, that's fine. It's just whatever happens is going to happen, right? And so if you're going to be trading on a prop firm, especially with, a trade the pool, a real trading, or when you're trading other people's money, you can sometimes get in positions that are very beneficial. And if you don't have stop orders, these trades can go quickly against you. We had some examples yesterday, especially with the market blasting up, where I took a hit on the TQs as it was ripping. Like it just all of a sudden, we were short the market. And then, of course, Trump, no tariffs, the 90-day pause, and the market took off. I had a slip of $1 and change, which did suck. But at the end of the day, that dollar slip saved me $5 extra plus, right? Exactly. I mean, if you think about when dramatic moves happen, that's when you want your risk management to be in place. So I don't mind if someone's trading right now and you're light on your positions and you don't really have your stops out. But I think that, for argument's sake, you should always have a stop out for at least half of your position because you never know. And it's always good to take half out and then you're playing with house money, which is what we've done on Intel. And even though I didn't even realize, I realized we got to fill, but it just tanked for me instantly. My stop was already in at 2010. So I don't, when we took this trade on in the first place, I was mentioning to you guys that this is the level. I said, we're going to take the short here at VWAP, but we're not going to stop out if it breaks it by a couple pennies. We're going to go upside a little bit there. So we gave it into $20.10, and that held. So right into there, that was a good little level. So our stop is already in. So if we're going to take 10 cents worth of a hit, we got to take 20 cents worth of a winner. So that's what we wound up doing right there. Intel could barcode the rest of the day, but it's a winner for now.
I want to give a big shout out to ProfitX, everybody, because if you want top tier odds and total control of your betting game, then ProfitX brings you peer-to-peer picking, open API access for automation, which is key if you want to catch that spread, sit bid ask, and adjust in real time, and cost-efficient trading of your bets all in one place. It's like day trading your favorite sports. Make offers, match plays, and even manage risk with diverse prediction options. Don't just place picks, exchange them, trade them, as we like to say. ProfitX, a smarter and faster way to play. Use the code TraderTV to get your sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. Shout out to ProfitX, where obviously the Masters are going on right now. And as I said, Scotty Scheffler tends to have the most. I mean, we have Colin Morikawa.
Oh,
yeah.
So you can request odds, yeah.
You can request odds as well and sort of make the line on Rory if you want to. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check what the rules are with when things go on and off during the event. We know what it is for basketball. I don't know exactly what it is for a golf tournament because I'm not that familiar with golf betting. Like I know for a game, we have in-game betting a lot of times, and they'll have their own rules for that. Just thank you very much. Oh, first things first. I did get back into AMD. Technically speaking, I broke an execution rule to get into AMD because I took it before it broke the trend. It bounced. I got back in at the same price. It's coming back in. But I want to thank you, Long This, for the super chat. We appreciate you in the super chat. Do you? I would suggest that both those things are useful. But yeah, when it comes to trading with or without stops, it used to be a thing that our see the executions that we have there just now, like Sean's in Intel and I'm on AMD. They used to still show up for the day before, so they'd stick around. I think it was at least a couple of days and you'd still be able to see them. I was sitting in a Pfizer short at the time, and I had a stop at the high of the day. And I got slipped, I think it was like 1 cent. It was actually, I'm not even sure, it is what it is. Like sometimes a stock like that, it's not gonna be that crazy. Like something more active is gonna be a crazier move. But I wasn't at my desk when it happened. I was away from my desk. It wasn't until I heard the commotion that you come back. And then all of a sudden, that's an extra 1 or 2% that you're out when you go back and sit down. So yeah, I believe in having stops to cover yourself because they can save you from like a headshot or that one trade that ruins a day, week, month, or whatever it might be. Let's go over to Adara.
In addition to all of this tariff excitement for the market, earnings season is basically more or less here. So keep an eye on earnings. And also, we've got a couple coming out tomorrow morning. This is our daily Trader TV or TTV Research events calendar. You can go on X at TTV Research to find this every single day. I usually post them around this time of day for the day ahead. But BlackRock, Bank of New York Mellon, Fastenal, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, all reporting before the bell. Then frequent small cap mover Children's Place coming after the close. So if you want to find out all about these earnings and some other events and economic happenings to expect tomorrow, go on X at TTV Research. You can find that out. Also, Fed's Goolsbee talking right now, saying that the current tariff system is a big scenario. A lot of these comments are kind of echoing what he said earlier today at 12, but just be aware, Fed's Goolsbee is talking, and back to you.
All right. This was our adventure in, thank you, Adara. This is our, by the way, Intel. The hell am I doing? All right, so I'll just show you Intel quickly. And I was going to talk about the Qs, but there it goes to the downside. It goes Intel, so that's going to be again a pretty good trade right there. I mean, now we can sort of swim without a stop if we wanted to. We have only 40% left, but again, you know, it's still in there just in case. And you could always change your stops too, right? So we could get stopped out at 80s now if we wanted to. I'm actually going to take another piece right there. So there it is, man. Another trade brought to you by the lovely gentleman at Trader TV Live. So we'll shout out to my guy Sharif over there. All right, so here we go. Nice downside play. You know, I wanted to actually look at Uber because Uber was a name that I almost shorted there, and I didn't. We were looking at Intel. Uber came into VWAP again right there, and it's at VWAP right there. We were going to look at this level of $72 to short because, again, it was a nice move right off the bottom, right back into this level. It didn't quite get to 72, so we stayed off of it. But now it's pulling right back to VWAP. So this could be I said I was going to short it. Now I'm looking that this could be a long. If we ever get anywhere near $70.50, like I'm going to put a bid right here, $70.40 on Uber. If we fall back in, this is the 200 period moving average, right? So if we take VWAP, fine, that's fine. You can do that, but we're already above it, and it's already a positive name. It's not positive on the day, but considering what the Nasdaq and the S is doing, we're up a relative volume, relative strength against that. So if we pull back into $70.30 or so, I feel like that's going to be a decent dip buy opportunity. So we'll see about picking something up down there around $70.40. So that'll be a level that I'll have to look at there for Uber. Now down 2 and a bit percent, but again, look at the Nasdaq down 4, ES down 3.5, 3.25. So we'll wait on that. Interesting to hear about. So good outs there. By the way, like, we got more out on Intel there. There's 3 outs down there. So we're always going to use the 200 period as our guide, and we almost got into that. I did want to look again. So we had, what was it, WFC, Morgan Stanley, and JP Morgan.
And BlackRock. Right?
And but BlackRock's $800 or something. Yeah. So we don't trade that too much. But WFC, Wells Fargo, again, what a monster day yesterday for all of the banks. They all got right back to a get out of jail for free card. You had that all yesterday on pretty much all the names, but especially the bank names. Like, I had bought JP Morgan right here, although I know we're looking at Wells Fargo, came all the way up. I didn't do anything. Then all the way back down. I didn't rebuy it, but we did hold it through all the way. And then it came back up yesterday. And we didn't take any out. So I think tomorrow's bank earnings are going to be extremely interesting. And quite frankly, I'm a little nervous about them. I mean, Jamie Dimon yesterday was talking all about how, you know, recession, or it wasn't yesterday, maybe it was 2 days ago. You know, they added that 60% chance of recession. Yep. They didn't really change. I heard Goldman's maybe go to 45 or something yesterday. I think we talked about that on the show. But we're still above VWAP. So again, we are now 1 hour away from an open market earnings report because they're going to report tomorrow morning. So I don't think there'll be much aftermarket trading and pre-market on JP Morgan. So we'll wait to see when that report comes out around 7 a.m. tomorrow. We'll hear what they have to say. It should be a good environment. We're not expecting, I think it was, 1 rate cut maybe this year. So we'll have to see where the banks float there. And again, if the consumer's still strong, we had the Fed talk today about strong consumers, and you know they said if this tariff talk continues, then there will be a weakening in the economy, of course. But until then, yeah, maybe JP Morgan and everybody else has a good ride tomorrow. Let's just see what winds up happening. I am a little nervous about their earnings report. So, yeah, they might sandbag Rivian Millionaire. I mean, we talked about that with Nike.
I'm worried about that for my FX.
Intel came back. Yeah, XLF is definitely a problem. So
this cookie's not a problem, though.
Yeah, for some reason, our lunch today, did I read? Was it on?
You did.
Yeah, I know, but I know we read it, but did we talk about, was there a mention of dessert?
I'm pretty sure I heard you say about the desserts.
Let me check out. Yeah, yes, dessert squares and cookies.
You should see there's like all kinds of extra pastry. If they do that every single day, it's going to be a problem. You can't just bring dessert with our lunch every day. Like
they can.
I told Sharif that it's been, since I got hurt, obviously I wasn't working out as much, so I stopped eating any of the pastries that would come, like the cookies, the brownies that come with our lunch. Today I broke down for the first time. Now my logic is, A, I'm back to running, so it doesn't count, and B, these cookies are really good. So I don't know why I just took a bite when I was in the middle of talking, but it is a very good oatmeal raisin cookie, and those are my favorite. Oatmeal raisin, maybe like oatmeal macadamia nuts, pretty good as well, but these are absolutely delicious. The market is trying to go through VWAP in here. Seems like, I mean, when I say the market, I mean the ES is in the same place. All right, I'm talking about the Nasdaq, but sometimes the Nasdaq and ES are different. But you're bouncing off the volume-weighted average price here. So looking for shorts to re-engage. If we get back up to the top, that'll be AMD. I did take, it shows up there. I did take a VWAP trade, however, and just something that's been fundamentally bouncing. That's that Walgreens deal. So I'm essentially, if you're seeing it, I'm just going long here into a very established range high. So this is just, that's pure scalp trade. VWAP to the high of the day kind of thing. And if it happens to go higher, fine, all well and good. So playing the range in both directions, shorting AMD, and then finding a VWAP long if you like it. I didn't find a chip name that I really liked to the long side. Micron's SSR, but it's not at VWAP. And then ARM's liquidity is just so bad these days. The spreads, I don't know, it's just not like it used to be. It's kind of strong, but I'm not really feeling it that much there on ARM. Tony just said, another interesting data point concerning commonalities. I like that, it's a good one. Someone said a rumor of Powell press conference. I haven't heard anything about that. And I'm actually not thinking that the Fed is that big of a deal anymore. We've seen what happens when the Fed talks, and we've seen what happens when the president talks. You know, someone's moving the market right now. And it's certainly all anybody wants to hear about are deals. How much did we even care about that number this morning? Were we even talking about that? No, we're not even talking.
Tomorrow we have PPI. Well, it came less.
CPI, like that was a great print, but you didn't hear much. You didn't hear that do anything for the market. It was a great CPI print. Let's go to Adara.
Keep an eye on Rumble here. RUM, Mark Meter, who is the company's attorney, apparently has been confirmed as a federal trade commissioner who was previously nominated to serve on the FTC. So RUM getting a little bit of a pop on this catalyst. This one gets a lot of retail attention. Back to you.
Good job. Thanks, Adara, for that. We can look at RUM. Maybe we'll look at that in just a second. I want to give another play here that I think we'll do. Breaking VWAP long on Bitcoin. So you're underneath 80,000. Fine. I get it. You know, but good bottoms here at 44.50. We're not even that far away. I mean, if we get a dip into there, I think it's a buy again, but we're now in hour of power. We only have 1 hour left. I could see the markets going sideways, barring any news this afternoon. If anything, I think we go higher right now as the market has just held VWAP and held the 50-period moving average. Sure, we wicked a little bit underneath it, but it looks like we're trying to break out now. So I think we're trying to go long, and I want to stay trend right now. And I know when you're saying stay trend, like it's not the trend. If you're looking at the trend here, it's not great. But if we start from the lows, and we pick up 1 o'clock, you could see, you know, low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So realistically, until we break pretty much 40, and that's what we use the 200 period for, let's say $45, I think we're okay here. So we're gonna wait and try to be patient with it, but this is what I mean about looking and scanning and trying to figure out the best trade opportunities for myself, and that is I think I like this trade on IBIT, down 4%. We know that there's a relationship with the Nasdaq. If we go on the market, why not play in this sandbox? I don't mind IBIT, so we'll watch out for that. I actually can put an order in right now to break above 45.50 or so. Let's take that. Then we can even use 10 cents as our stop, 45.40. I mean, it's not even like 10 cents is that crazy of a move. It's pretty barcoding here in the last. It's 20 cents in the last half hour is the range. So let's give this a little bit of juice. If the market starts going crazy, let's look back at IBIT. All right. Time to have a quick look at who's here in the chat with us. If there is anything here that you guys want to talk about, let's do that. So what's up, Casey France here? Methinks we just peaked. The market, methinks the market just peaked. Maybe, Casey. We'll definitely have a check on that. Yeah. Okay. So VF Corp. Yeah. Shout out to North Face. We could definitely have a look over there. Are they the same ones with Uggs? So VFC. We could definitely have a look there. Different spot. We can look at VFC for sure. All right. Who else is saying something? Yeah. What's up, Bears vs. Bulls? Hope you're doing good. Yeah. So you just bought some BTC. Good job, Rivian Millionaire. I think that at these levels makes sense. Whether or not you want to wait for 76 or 74, I think you're pretty close to that as well. What's up, Jarhead? We remember you, Jarhead. Let's go, Jarhead. One of our first ever, and we say thank you for all your service as well, Jarhead. One of our first ever viewers that joined us on our, when we had viewers on. When we interviewed a trader. I don't remember what we called it. But anyways, back then, hey, what's up, man? So much criminal market manipulation, man. Yeah, Charlie, I mean, that's for sure. You saw it yesterday, and we'll see what happens today. Criminal is only if you get prosecuted, and we know nobody's getting prosecuted, so it's not necessarily criminal. All right, prediction for the end of the month. I will look at that. It's a great question. Let me look at that, and we'll talk about that in a couple seconds. Yo, okay, what's up, Long This? Let's look at NVIDIA banging on 109. So Neil will call that up. Thank you, Long This, for that. Another one of our Canadian friends, Long This, I believe, in Erie Pages. So shout out to you guys there. Will we gap down in? All right, Tez, we will. Will we gap down after hours? So, yeah, I mean, we started the day, I said yesterday, and thank you, everybody. I'll just keep on watching the chat. Thank you, everybody, for doing that. We said yesterday that we could probably have an open of about down 2%. We had exactly that. I think after today, with the Nasdaq being down another 4%, everything's only going to matter about banks. So tomorrow, we'll see what happens with the banks. I could see them actually not moving around too much because, again, I'm not sure if we're going to be having like someone I mentioned there, a sandbag, which means that they'll guide a lot lower, hoping that they can beat the next quarter, and therefore they'll say, we beat. But I could see a pretty flat day tomorrow for the market, the banks. But for the Nasdaq, I still think we have lower to go. I mean, we're not hearing anything. All we're hearing is that there's many, many people wanting to negotiate. We haven't heard too much on that front. And I still think we're going to be a headline-based market. So if we just look at something very, very basic like the Nasdaq and you want to get a call for tomorrow, let's just have a quick look at a 5-minute chart. So today we opened up quite nice. We had that nice run there yesterday, and it's been a fade all day. So if we can close somewhere around here, I wouldn't be surprised if we would see another kind of a push lower tomorrow. What about 440 for the Qs tomorrow before we eventually bounce? So let's see if we open up and banks are strong. We could open up near the same levels that we did today. I would say a flush, but not as deep in as today. I would say something around that 440, which is where look at this. That's basically where we held today. So if we can get into 440 to 442 tomorrow, I think that's pretty reasonable for the triple Qs. It's a little tough to make a call now, because we have earnings tomorrow, right?
And they're big earnings.
So we'll look at that. But there goes, by the way, we just took another fill there. We should have reloaded it. We were too busy looking at that chat. Didn't even consider looking at my blotter. Intel goes all the way back to VWAP. Congratulations if anybody noticed that. Another fill for us there on Intel.
Go ahead. Yeah. Looking Intel, it was NVIDIA that was the super chat from Long This. But someone also asked about gold, which I wanted to get to as well. Can you look at NVIDIA? I mean, it's already pulled back off the 109 at this point, so not sure what else to say. Higher lows, banging on 109, seems it breaks or exhausts lower in power hour. You're absolutely right. NVIDIA almost, you should never say always, almost always breaks out of a consolidation one direction or another in power hour, but that's pretty much any stock. So yeah, it's exhausted that 109 level. I liked it down here, had nothing to do with any price levels. It was just that it did a bottoming tail candle, but now you're losing VWAP in earnest here on NVIDIA. So your 109, you had to already be in it. We'll get to gold in a second because the market just moved on us a little bit here. All right, I'm not going to reload that because we're too weak off of VWAP. I did try to reload AMD, which didn't break VWAP, Neil. But I did go up.
Got stopped out.
Well, I got to go to the bathroom. It didn't break VWAP, so I probably just put the stop in the wrong space.
It always happens when you go to the bathroom, man. You got to get one of those little catheters or whatever they call it. Seems like.
No, it's like sometimes I just type it fast. Like I know what I do in a situation like that. Like I'm just typing it in manually.
Well, your stop was in there. You got stopped out. Is what it is, right? I mean, that happened to me too.
No, but I put my stop beneath VWAP instead of.
Oh yeah.
So that's more like just it went 1 cent away from actually breaking out. So I might have got stopped. It doesn't really make a difference at this point. I did want to address. That's why I'm not in it, and I did want to address GLD because at least one person was asking about gold, which is super strong today, and made another fresh high. So it's breaking back out. That's another sign of the weakness that we have going on in the market. So remember on the aftermarket show, we were telling you guys, hey, gold, of all those things that dipping, the only thing that was dipping into an uptrend was gold at the 50-period moving average. So there it is, and there it went. Now you're at a fresh top. Buying tops, I don't know, but it's proven to be a very good hedge on all the weakness that we've had in the market, and all it's done is continue. That's why in the aftermarket show, in the market recap show, we're always going over a bunch of sectors and sort of what stands out. This is one that definitely stood out there on GLD, everybody.
All right, I want to thank today's net is brought to you by Apple and brought to you by Intel, because these are the only two trades that we have all day. We have the Qs, which we've talked about. We have Apple and we have Intel. We don't have anything else. We have Nvidia, which we got in and out at 107. We didn't do too much damage there. But yeah, the same thing, like I was just saying to Neil, my stop just wasn't at VWAP. It was higher, but our Intel ran VWAP as well. So the same thing happened there to Intel. But I'm only mad that we didn't reload it right there to the downside, as we are playing trend on this. We are playing trend on the semis and on the futures. I'm not touching the futures. They're too choppy right now. I said I would look at VF Corp. So again, I like VF Corp. You know, not a horrible play. I wonder when they're going to be reporting. I would imagine they're down quite huge. Yeah. Huh. Wow. I thought they were the maker. I'll have to look up.
What?
It's either. Yeah, I don't know if it's Uggs or, I mean, I know it's North Face. I think they have Columbia. But again, like if I check the tag on this sweater, probably made in Vietnam or Bangladesh or China or somewhere. So yeah, whoa. Okay, whoever asked about this, man, I'm just going to channel like my inner Brian Shannon basically and just say like, this is in the penalty box.
I like Tim's. It's that bad for these
Timberland?
guys? Yeah, they're Timberlands.
You should wear your Timberlands tomorrow, man.
I'm literally wearing Timberlands right now.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, you're not doing anything to help the stock.
I'm not helping the stock.
Go out. Well, I mean, nor am I. I mean, I'm wearing this right here. But at the end of the day, yeah, huge move down. I would say at this point, you just want to wait for earnings and hopefully that they'll be able to kick in somehow. But, yeah, I mean, look what happens here. Boom. Right down to the downside. If Lululemon, Nike, all these major brands are getting hit, VF Corp, very, very similar to everybody else. So I don't know if they have Vans or what, but like right now, anything in the clothing space, because you can't make this stuff in the United States. You can't make it in the United States. I mean, you can, but the price is going to be astronomical, right? Especially if you've got to import the cotton and all that stuff too. Like, I worry about a lot of these names. You can look at the retailers, maybe like a Gap or something like that. But again, Gap also has Old Navy and a couple of those other brands too. So yeah, a lot of problems in the retail space right now. I know you were on Nike before. All right, the guy's just talking about Nike, right, or about Apple right now. Again, like this is pretty bad for trading. It's great if you're playing VWAP in the tops. It's $2 range, but hard to get a handle on making a big play right now on a name like Apple. So anyways, still making lows here on Intel, but yeah, we're ready to go so far. NVDA trying to go bouncing off the 200 period as well. So yeah, it's too bad about that AMD because you had the right way. The market is really bringing. Yeah, it happens. I'm just saying that we all get stopped. I mean, look, I got stopped. I mean, I got stopped out of Apple right here.
No, yeah, that's one of those.
I got stopped out of the TQs right here today before this happened. So yeah, it is what it is.
Oh, I had one of those on the thing that I'm in right now. It happens all the time. I had two of these like at the low kind of moments. This one was intentional that I wanted to get out before the low of the day because. Here's the problem. Sometimes there are certain situations where I want to be out before the break as opposed to out on the break. And this was one of those where I just felt the gap underneath that I didn't want to risk. And then I ended up punching out at the bottom. And I had two of these at the same time. I was able to hold on to one. But we got this off of VWAP. And with the market coming down, it's threatening VWAP. VFC lost money last quarter.
Yeah.
But their forward P is actually better than industry peers. It's always weird. Like you never want to, I was never... have a situation, I was never looking at this and never wanted anything in the sector, and then it piques your interest when you see a chart that's that bad. It's always tempting to want to catch those types of bottoms. Been there, done that, right? Literally, been in Rivian, and sometimes it works out for you. I mean, SoFi has ended up working out pretty good. The running joke is yesterday I was talking about how I was going to throw an offer on SoFi. So yeah, maybe we'll get hit tomorrow or Friday. Suffice to say that offer is not getting filled on SoFi. And you don't need to look at a chart to understand why, because the market is just dying. I don't know if we'll get back into VWAP on AMD, but I'll stick around on the offer there. We don't really have much on the early look imbalances, although it seems like UiPath has been there almost every single day all week. It's probably the only notable one at 1.8 million to the sell side, but it's before 3:30. Maybe keep an eye on that. We've seen it there a few times. I just heard we're going to Adara at the desk for an update.
It was brought to you by WorkSport, introducing a new discovery in the Nasdaq. WorkSport, ticker WKSP. WorkSport's a U.S.-based manufacturer, and they are rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, WorkSport has you covered. They're now trading on the Nasdaq under WKSP. Discover the future of clean energy with WorkSport. Back to you.
So long this, man. You just did it. So thank you so much for that. Spin the money bag right here. A hundy clean for long this. All right. We'll get some Moosehead tomorrow. All right. Well, that's 2 super chats in a row that you gave. I think you gave $100 yesterday or something. Yes. And you said, go get that Moosehead. And we had joked about it. So I'll pick up a 6-pack or something tomorrow for that. And then here's $100 to have with your favorite food to have with the team. So yeah, maybe tomorrow in the afternoon. It's Friday afternoon. We'll see if we can pick something up. I don't.
Biscuits, shawarma, burgers. I don't know.
My only problem is like
I'm easy.
Yeah. But do we want to actually pick up like a meal, like stuff that's a meal, like to pick up a thing of brisket? Like we get our lunch.
That's a good point. Yeah, we do get it. So
that's why I was thinking like a late afternoon snack of some sort. So we will definitely. What do you got to have with beer? I mean, we got to get some nachos. Maybe I don't know. We'll figure it out. But again, long this. I mean, thank you so much for that one.
Wings.
There it is. We'll do this. Bang. Yeah, wings would be great.
Wings would be a good idea.
Get a little dip into some wings there. But anyways, we'll get it all figured out. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thank you, everybody. Super Chat Mania incurred yesterday as well. Yes. So we want to say a big shout out to that. Those super chats from yesterday.
Just one note though, go in the chat. We will not be doing another chip challenge. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. It was an experience I don't plan on repeating. Let's leave it at that. Just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean that you should. It's that simple.
Well, yeah, Adara, we know. I mean, Adara can't do the jerk chicken challenge.
No,
so
it would be a problem.
We can't all do it. We cannot all do it.
No, it's just like I love spicy food. If I go to like a bar or whatever, and I'm getting wings. I want their hottest wing. I'll do that. The Packy chip is not food. It's just not food. It's chemical warfare intended to basically just cause you pain. There's nothing about it that tastes good or is enjoyable. Like when I eat a good hot wing, I'm actually enjoying it. When I put hot sauce in something, I'm actually enjoying it. That Packy chip it's just not fun.
Well, no, it's
not fun twice.
I don't think anybody actually eats it for fun.
So I'm not doing that. Like we did it because I ran my mouth and I didn't know what it was, and I learned after I had said I would do it what it was, and we just kind of did it. And thankfully, because I was stuck with it, everyone decided that they would chip in for me. So I appreciate you.
That was just Fahad.
Because I'm the one that opened my mouth and said I would do it for some bet that we had with the chat.
What the hell's wrong with you?
And then everyone sort of jumped in and had my back so I wouldn't have to embarrass myself alone.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
It wasn't that fun.
If there was something else, I mean, we could do. We had that one viewer. Which I remember his name. He sent in 5 or so sauces.
Those were delicious.
Yeah, that was good times, man. We could definitely do something like that. We lined them all up.
They did not last long here. They were gone in like.
Yeah. So does anybody think? So we asked a question in the chat. Do we think there's going to be a huge move or anything of that sort tomorrow? Into Friday? Yeah. I mean, why not? I wonder historically how much Trump actually talks during the weekend. So I don't know. Like, are there going to be many deals made during the weekend? Is he going to be golfing? Is he going to be watching the Masters? Is there going to be some Mar-a-Lago? I mean, I think that this guy is probably on the phone 24/7. He'll take a call whenever, I would imagine. So yeah, I think that there could be a big move over the weekend. Again, I would just look for headlines, and that's about it. We talked about Bitcoin possibly moving. That's going to be a 24/7 tool that you can trade. So I would say, monitor Bitcoin if you're thinking about that. But unless you have like a good grasp on what we could possibly be seeing, then I would say maybe just stay away. We talked about the triple Qs and whatnot. I mean, here's a 30-minute chart of the Nasdaq. So
I always think whenever you make bottoms that you're, especially like that, and there was obviously a ton of volume there, but I would like to see, and I said this, another retest down here. I'll buy, this would be the only dip that I'll buy if we can get back into here again, and I think there is a chance to do that. So maybe Monday, if there is a dramatic move, then we get into there. I don't see the path higher. So for me, if you are looking for a dramatic move, it would just be short. And that's what I would think. So again, heading into earnings season, I just kind of like that chip challenge that Neil was mentioning there. Like, what's the reason for the market to go up? And if you can find those reasons, then great. It's just for me right now, I'm not really seeing those, and it would have to be a deal. And I just think that knowing Trump and knowing the way this might work, that might just happen intraday. So we'll have to wait for any news like that coming out of the White House. So
we got another one.
Oh, good.
Long this again. Appreciate the super
he must be making
chat.
some money out there.
So now he's saying, and thank you again for the 20 here. Is there a great jerk chicken place in Toronto that delivers?
Yes, of course there is.
There's a few. I'm sure they all do. Mr. Jerk's pretty good. The best place closed up like a decade ago, but maybe a day in the future. So the issue, look, I love jerk chicken. Sean would love it as well, but
I mean, we could do that tomorrow.
We can do that.
Tomorrow.
Just, Derek's not going to eat any from a good jerk chicken place.
Yeah, but they would have, for example, they would have a barbecue.
Oh yeah, they have regular barbecue.
We could just get a different.
We could just get something.
Adara loves mac and cheese.
Yo.
So
West Indians could throw down mac and cheese.
That's what I'm saying. So if we find a good West Indy place,
if my aunt makes, if I go over to my aunt's and she makes them, I'll bring some in for you, Adara. Trust. And I don't even I'm not even a huge mac and cheese person, but when the fam makes it, that's a different story. It's a different story.
The fam. I like that. I know. Yeah, I mean, everything tastes better.
Although I will give my wife,
I won't even have lasagna unless it's made by someone I know. Pretty much.
My wife made a rum cake, and we took it to a family dinner, and we just put so nobody my aunts, they didn't know who made it.
Right.
And they're just like, oh my goodness, it's so good. And they're asking, moms, you make this, Auntie Muff, you make, and I'm I'm just sitting there smiling nope. And they're like, what? Really? She's like, where'd you? She's been practicing at home. We have it all times in our house. We got the big, it's, I don't know, it's not like a bucket, the word for it. A huge, big jug or container that just has your fruit fermenting, and you add the rum to it all year round, and then you bake a cake at the end of the year. Legit. You can't let the kids have it because, it's got a decent amount of rum in it, but that's a good stuff.
Wait a minute, rum cake has rum in it?
A little bit. This keeps on happening to me. This chat just keeps crashing on me. I want to let's read the chat. And it's no, not enough memory to open this page. Something tells me I should restart this PC aftermarket.
Yeah. Well, you know what I do is if you close the stream sometimes, you could actually buffer the stream down. So that's what I do.
Buffer the stream.
Anyways, okay. Yeah. Meaning watch it under 180p or something instead of 1080.
Go back in time.
Now, sometimes I have some good ideas. Not often enough. Rum cake. Good job there. Yeah. And again, celebrate whatever this weekend and come back with a clear mind on Monday. Yeah. All right. We still do have tomorrow to trade, of course, and we'll wait to see what comes of that. So Intel, more covers, more life. What was the other trade that we liked? We liked Bitcoin. I can see right clearly right now that's not doing anything right now. BTC. So we'll have to wait to see if that's going to break through. IBIT. Remember that IBIT level was VWAP. It can't be anywhere near. No, it's not even moving. So remember we said we weren't going to trade the futures, or we were going to look at it if there was a move. But right now the only move would be shorting, and I don't want to short anything above VWAP right here. It'd have to be underneath. So a move down into these lows, maybe, then a move back to VWAP. We talk about it, but right now we're at that level, so we'll stay away from that. Let's talk about another name that we haven't maybe talked about too much today. Robinhood, only down 4% now. So again, another name that I like. I like Robinhood. Why not? I mean, it's been a good trade, especially for a day trade. Robinhood, you mentioned SoFi a little bit. That name, again, back down into these levels, that $32 mark.
Great level there for Robinhood at the 200 period moving average. So if you are getting that so-called knife sharpened up or whatever in your toolbox, Robinhood could be on traders' watch. So for sure, I like Robinhood there. So we'll see if we can do some damage there on Robinhood if it gets back into that level. You know, a name that we look at not often enough, Micron's been actually a really good day trade. Anytime I feel like I put on a trade on Micron, it seems to be okay. So I don't know why we're not doing that. There's another one right at VWAP again. So thank you, Sharif, for reminding me. And I don't even know where it is. It's another tech name. It's another semi name. It's another one that faded off VWAP. So there it is, man. We pick on the worst of the worst with Intel, but Micron isn't too far away, man. You want to talk about advanced money destroyer? This one, very, very similar to that. $150 down to $70, down to $60 for Micron. So you're going lower on that. But yo, we just said a big shout out to our good friend on the show, obviously. Just happens that he comes on Tuesday when I do it. He's been on with Neil many times as well. We shorted there he is. Yo, what's up? What's up, my guy? There he is. What's up, Brian? Come on, man. 350,000 followers. That's it. Let's get going. Right there. We have VWAP. I mean, I do this myself. We're going to give credit to Brian Shannon because he's on the show, but we got to make trades ourselves, obviously. There's VWAP right there, bang. There's a retracement into VWAP, bang, to the downside, and we just say thank you to Brian for explaining that. You can go find him at Alpha Trends and go see what he's talking about. But so far, so good there. Would have worked on Micron as well. It's 325. Oh, yeah, BBAI. I'll look at that again. This is one, again, that's just in the account. It's chilling out. It's doing nothing. Our average price was $4. We talked about that here on the show, and it's not great, man. We caught a falling knife in this one. We thought we were at some levels there with 4, and then whoops, it was not. We started our buying at 5, and we bought more. I guess I don't remember buying it at 3. Our average price must be a little higher than $4 because pretty sure we bought some in and around here, 350. So let's call it 4.25. I'll double check that tonight and get back to you guys. But yeah, BBAI, big bear, trying to hold this bottom. You would think in a bear market, Big Bear AI would be going up, but of course has nothing to do with bearish trend. You'd think maybe it's like an ETF. It's like a big bear ETF, but again, an AI data name there, similar to Palantir without the PLTR behind it.
So, okay, that's a weird question. I am woke energy, but there was another question about why there's not going to be any drone strikes in Mexico. But there was a question about why are QBTS? No, I can't even find it. There it is. It was Joseph Schmo. Joe Schmo. Great show, by the way. I really enjoyed the Joe Schmo show. I don't remember.
I do remember that.
I don't know what network even carried that.
It was on like FX.
It's a really cool concept for a show. Anyways, why are quantum names keeping their head above water? QBTS, Rigetti, they've been pretty neutral all day. I don't recall hearing anything specifically about them. You are right. There's no doubt about it. And this now goes on radar for breakouts tomorrow on the off chance if we hit some strength in the market tomorrow, if we get a free fall Friday, I'm pretty sure QBTS and Rigetti aren't breaking out. But they are holding a nice little bull flag, holding that top. 740 looks pretty clean for QBTS. I haven't looked at Rigetti. I usually go to QBTS first because happen to... I don't know. My wife actually owns some some QBTS from like $1. But they're the same. They're basically the same chart right now. One slightly better than the other. QBTS a little bit better than Rigetti. Rigetti, though, with a very, very clean hold at 6.5. Well, it's more like 660. This might be 666. But about 660 the other day. It's double bottomed now here. Low descending wedge into a double bottom. So you've got a pretty clean support level forming on Rigetti, but they're both pretty prime for a breakout. I just think I'd probably prefer D-Wave tomorrow. Like see D-Wave making higher lows on the daily above the 50 period. Just a little bit better of a chart. And if you're picking between the two, that's going to break the tie for me. So yeah, this will probably be something for breakout tomorrow. I give it a very slim to no chance of breaking out today. No volume, market going down. Why would it break out under those conditions? I just can't see it happening. Apparently, we're not going to go back to VWAP either on AMD. Looks like it's just lower highs all the way through because I got to show it to you.
Bye-bye, Intel.
Yeah, we're not going to get that one again. We took one more fill in Walgreens at the bid. I only traded it 2 places, VWAP and low of day. If it gets down there, you might see me try something. You also might see me try something in this rando up here if the market completely falls apart. This one's been pretty good for these little buck bounces. But I need something to fall apart here, and we should still be in AMD, but it didn't. It looked like it was pressing back into VWAP at one point. Now it's just making lower highs and lower lows and falling all over itself. Market doesn't want to buy up again. The second I start to say the potential breakout tomorrow, Qubit looks good, or D-Wave looks good, we just start heading back into the downside. You can't break out in this market.
No, there's not much happening right now. I think the market's just waiting around for another tweet or something like that. I mean, but now the market's starting to head down. You know, we already had head lower today. I mean, we not getting really the response out of President Trump and out of China maybe that they were thinking about. I wonder if he slapped those tariffs on there and then, you know, it's hard to judge. Like, I don't know what that economy is doing over there, but I just wonder if there was a thought that maybe they would come to the table and that could be one of those sparks today. But instead, the EU kind of went the other way with China, and we're going to wait to see because FXI did make a pretty good move here today, and now, just now, is getting back up to these tops again. So I again, like, not horrible at all to be up here in the market, but $32, that comes right back into that level again. So potentially missed opportunity maybe in FXI to short with the market. So pulling back into there. Alibaba was up to 107 at one point today. Now, where is it right now? Still. Okay. Still 107, and look at that. So there's the same kind of tops happening all over the place. There's so many opportunities in this market. You just got to look at the right stock. JP Morgan could be interesting into the close as we report very, very soon, and that just dipped down into 125. So there's, or sorry, 125. That better not happen. Into 225 right there. So yeah, JP Morgan and some of the banks starting to go lower, but so is the market. We've got an update on something with Adara.
We have an update on these automakers. Keep an eye on GM and Ford. Fox Business reporting that apparently Donald Trump does not want to make a deal with Canada. So keep an eye here on GM and Ford. That apparently on watch. I guess Doug Ford saying that Trump does not want to make a deal with Canada. So something to be aware of here. Back to you.
Ford said that. Okay, so Doug Ford is like the governor of our province, basically. Like he's the premier.
No, that's exactly right.
I'm just trying to get people. He's like the senator. Like he's just so every province elects, and then he's a conservative. So that's that party. But again, conservative is a little different in Canada.
His brother was cooler.
Yeah. His brother was that crackhead guy that has unfortunately. Everyone knows the story about.
He was the most famous mayor in the history of the country.
Yeah,
for sure. It has to be because even Americans knew him. Like it was like Kimmel. Everybody was talking about it.
Oh, he went on Kimmel.
Yeah, he went on there. But at the same time, just so you know, the premier, which is like the governor of Ontario, has been talking tough this whole time. You know, and said he said a lot of stuff like we're going to cut off the energy and a bunch of stuff that I don't think will happen. So I don't think you have to worry too much about what he has to say in that regard. But at the end of the day, I think that the relationship between Canada and the U.S. when it comes to automaking, I think everyone kind of understands the importance of some of those synergies. And ultimately, I think that part will end up well. How things go with China, no clue. But I'm pretty sure there will be satisfactory deals that get made between the United States and Canada, especially when it comes to autos. It's in everybody's best interest. But I still think the hard line on China is very realistic. Who knows when that's going to end up. Or let up, I should say. Let up.
I used to have a Rob Ford squishy head thing. Now I have this thing. Rob Ford used to live right by us. So shout out to all of that. But there we go. Josh Allen. We can put Josh Allen beside the Maple Leafs here. Hopefully they do not have the same playoff.
Well, when they banned the tush push.
Experiences. Right. You think the tush push helped Eagles? Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams. I mean, ever since, I wonder about how good they were last year with the statistics because of, not Travis, Jason. Was it Jason? Yeah, Jason, of course. I mean, Jason Kelsey there. I wonder what was up with that.
I heard some analysts, it's not me, I didn't check it myself because I'm not into, like, it's not a random thing I looked at, but I heard an analyst say that they weren't as efficient or something about it. From me watching Philly, it didn't seem like they were any less efficient. It seemed like they were getting every single tush push successfully, unlike the Bills who struggled to get 1 yard every single time they needed it, but whatever.
Football. All right, so we were able to get it. I mean, let's just go. We're almost done, man. It's only 3:33 right now. 3:33. Join Adair and I this afternoon, and we'll have Steve Thielman from the Trade the Pool, analyst over there at Trade the Pool. He'll come join us, and we'll get his comment on pretty much everything. I'm just going to ask him whatever, and we'll see where that goes. But Intel right now, nice downside play into 1960 there. We did break The 200 period moving average, nice move to the downside right there. Boom, $20, boom, into 1960. We'll wait to figure out what happens there. 1970. We have a very, very small piece left. So we have 5% left of our Intel trade. I just wish we would have got that reload right there. Thank you so much. There's Nimrod. He's back in the building again. Thank you so much, Nimrod, for the 10 gifted memberships. So if anybody, again, it looks like they're getting scooped up there. You have to input your, there's something about it on your YouTube page there. Just again, Google how to get those memberships, but there it is. Thank you so much to Bears vs. Bulls for mentioning it, and to Nimrod right there, 10 gifted memberships. Again, a great trader, always in our chat, talking about it there. So thank you so much again for that one more time. So yeah, alert, and long this, man. Thank you so much for that. We'll get it tomorrow. We'll have a couple beers here on the air tomorrow in the afternoon. I saw Sharif get excited. Joe's going to have one. Neil and I will put one back, and then we'll enjoy the craziness of the week. So thank you so much to Long This for that. Long This for that. This or that. This or that. You can get with this.
Engine number 9.
Yeah. That's a great one. That's Black Sheep, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You can deal with this. You can deal with that.
That was
that's a good one there. So shout out to old school hip hop as you go. Maybe some people in the chat do not know.
Oh, everyone. No, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say, like, most people know.
Number 9.
I'm pretty sure
New York Transit
a lot of
line.
people know that one. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
And then it goes.
Well, it's like, it was Walmart. I knew there was something that was going to say market related. Walmart's holding up really well today. And there was no specific reason for it, at least early on, but it's now giving you a nice, solid support off VWAP and yesterday's highs. Nothing going crazy. Like, it's not blowing up on my trade rate, which is usually, I don't want to trade anything that's not doing a little bit more. That's why you look at some of the chip names and big cap tech. Like, look what's on the top of that list. XLF makes sense because we're getting earnings tomorrow morning. Maybe we'll have a look at that in a quick second. But if you're interested in a tool like that, like the hot list or the trade rate, or you can do things like pull back into VWAP, or maybe just setting alerts based on indicators and e-signals for you. And the best part about e-signal is the first month is free. They're waiving fees, so you can try it out for free, with an opportunity to have a highly customizable, reliable platform where you can even execute. Many brokers will allow you to hook up to them and execute directly through eSignal, back testing, forward testing, API access, all there for you. Level 1, level 2 data if you need it. If you want to have entitlements to the imbalance locator, you can have that as well. So pretty much everything's there. There's tick charts, tick replay. Heck, I mean, anything you could pretty much imagine, all in one place for the global markets. So don't miss out. It's 1 month free. You try it out. You like it. If you're into trading and you like charts, you're probably going to like it. And if not, no harm, no foul. Scan that QR code you see in front of you. Shout out to the good people over there at eSignal. We use it all the time. And as I said that, XLF jinx it, Walmart. Walmart was holding VWAP. Now looks weaker like everything else. There you go, XLF. No, like XLF, even as we speak, it was the top of that trade list. Right now, it's losing VWAP downside. This is, I mean, Sean's looking at JP Morgan. Obviously, we'll be all looking at JP Morgan tomorrow. But for myself, it'll be XLF that I'm generally speaking concerned with, because this is what I converted to buying. No longer a buyer of Morgan Stanley. I still own some, but I like XLF. But this is let's see how they report before we do anything next in XLF. And I want to say all the big ones. We're done the big ones by Tuesday. Let's put it that way. I forget exactly who's on Monday, but you're done all the big banks by Tuesday. Then I'll have a pretty good picture how I feel about XLF after it settles. Sometime next week. It's been a roller coaster like everything else, and we just lost the 200 period again after. It's ridiculous. Like, we closed holding the 200 period. We opened failing it and have failed it at the top again here today on XLF. So not a very bullish looking entry into the big bank earnings, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's why we're a little bit nervous. What's going on with Boeing? We haven't talked about Boeing, but is it going or not? All right, so it comes up on the scanner here as it's into the 200 period moving average right now for Boeing. So a great day yesterday, obviously from 140 to 160. Everything had a great day, and everything's pulling back pretty much half of what they did yesterday, it seems like. Although some of the major players, you know, like an NVIDIA, they're giving back half. They're down 10% today. I thought it was roughly, oh no, it's AMD, right? AMD is the one that's down 10%, I believe, and so is Intel. Yeah, so they're giving back about half of what they were up yesterday. Yesterday we had Tesla was up 22%, I believe, as well. So they're also giving back half as well. All right, Adara, what's the news?
We have CRL on watch. This is Charles River Laboratories. I'm seeing this announcement coming through on X. Apparently, the FDA has announced plans to phase out animal testing requirements for monoclonal antibodies and other drugs. I just looked up Charles River and their association with animal testing. They have a whole page about it on their website. They view it as essential. So this news here from the FDA, they're planning on phasing out animal testing. Clearly not a good look here for CRL. Back to you.
So we were just looking at XLE gave back. Some things have given back some of the move. You were just saying NVIDIA. Like XLE gave it all back today. Yeah, what else? I'll put this to what else gave back the entirety of the move today? I'm not thinking there's much. But the fact that it's this bad on energy, and this is the problem when you're lobbing at China, and that's where if demand sinks from there, then what are you going to do? And that's a problem. And as someone who has liked XLE, and heck, man, I bought it in the 80s. I was buying it in 2024 last year. I was buying it in the consolidated 2024. Like all those good prices that looked like good buys, not so much anymore. Like I didn't used to own it, let's put it that way. So I'm underwater on XLE. I'm not underwater in something I've had for a while, like my Canadian energy stuff or like Chevron, but I'm underwater on XLE, and I'm like, I want to be buying more, just not getting the good feels here for energy. Looking a little bit nasty, taking out and about to take out this morning's.
Look at it.
Today's lows and yesterday's lows. I mean, it's the same thing. This is looking pretty bad here for XLE. It's a big wait and see. I do think if a deal gets struck with China, this might be one of the first things I want to pick up. Like almost like instantly, like just like log in and buy it.
Yeah, I think oil, energy in general, great look on that one. I agree with you 100% on energy. I mean, if this world's not going to go into a recession, then that's way too low. XLE is. We had JC Peretz on
Alibaba.
Yeah, Alibaba right now was the only name that was green on my board. Now
just
it's not.
went $4 down.
What? Okay, alert to Adara, please. Obviously, she's over there. Okay, she knows, so she's all over this. Alibaba, huge volume, like big time volume coming in right now for Alibaba. So yeah, good look on that one, Neil. All the way down into 102.50. That makes me feel like that Apple trade where we actually got this fill there. So there it goes. Wow, great short on Apple there. The market is collapsing into the close. I would say like as we thought would happen, but again, the only name that I'm holding on to right now is Intel, and I just wanted to say we had just covered that. There has to be some news about China right now because FXI, everything is going to the downside right now. Big move down. So I almost like Benzinga's not working in my ear. I haven't heard anything from these guys in a minute, but when we are ready, and Adara right now, you're even on. You have TweetDeck open. Like if you don't see anything, then
I'm listening. I'm not.
So no one's seeing anything right now on this.
Short. Breaking support. I don't know.
All right, if there's nothing, then let's get in here and buy, right? But I don't know if that's the case. So I think the right thing to do when you don't know anything, that's what my wife says, is don't say anything.
It's tempting. And, like Neil's right at the bottom. I'm thinking, does it bounce here? Like,
buy it. If this is what we did on Apple, guys.
24 is the low, so we just sit at 25.
Okay, Adara now has found something.
It took a while for this to circulate here. This is coming from Charles Gasparino, who is a frequent Fox business contributor. He's saying here that some sources are telling him that the Trump administration is moving towards a possible delisting of Chinese public company shares on U.S. exchanges. This is not news, though. Scott Bessent had kind of commented on that possibility a while back. People had asked him, and he said anything is on the table. So now Charles Gasparino is saying not only is it on the table, apparently they're actually considering doing this. So that's the news. Took a while here to circulate on X, but now we are seeing it come through here. Also, apparently, lawmakers are talking right now. Again, this is from Charles Gasparino citing unnamed sources. Lawmakers are concerned about golden shares that grant Chinese government control over certain listed companies. We know that TikTok or ByteDance is one of those companies that has golden shares with China. So just be aware here, Alibaba and these Chinese ADRs dropping to the downside. Again, this is not necessarily new information, but the Trump government reportedly considering delisting Chinese stocks from American exchanges. Back to you.
There has never been like a more gangster president in the world. Like you don't want to make a deal with us? Bye stocks. Like that is cold as ice.
If there's 100 possible headlines that I thought Adair could have just said, that was not one of them.
That is great.
Chance I thought that was one of them.
That's like if you are like that. So what if Canada doesn't do it? What does that mean? See you later, Shopify, all that? Like what exactly are we talking about right here? But what a lever to pull. What a lever to pull.
Yeah,
I don't know if he can do that. I have no idea what exactly that means for this. But that is about as gangster as
powers cover something like that?
That's about as gangster as you get. I don't honestly, my hat's off to that kind of a talk, if that's that. Like, I don't think that's a great move, but I just think, like, if that's what you're going to do, then think about all the wealth that is going to come out of that market. Like, because people, again, there's a lot of hedge funds and all that stuff that are in here with Alibaba buying dips. And I know, obviously, it's traded. And look, this might not be the end of the world for these companies. Maybe we are jumping the gun a little bit here by saying, like, how bad this is. But at the end of the day, it can't be good.
No,
it looks like that was probably an overshoot to the downside when I sort of look to see what's happening right now. But at the end of the day, great look. And yeah, that's pretty gangster, man, to do that. So I don't know. That seems, I haven't looked at the chat, so I don't know what the chat thinks about this, but that is quite the move.
I'd say generally agreement.
Yeah, I don't, because most of our chat is American. Like, I just think that's huge. And I think that's a problem. So, like, what if the Italians don't send over the Parmesan? Like, does that mean that all of a sudden race and Ferrari and all that, there's going to be a problem with that?
This is what it does tell us. What it does tell us is laser focus on China right now.
Let's look at the yin and the yang.
It makes me feel like this is all about, it's going to be all about China. Deals are going to get done everywhere else. And the issue is going to be, this is hard line against China. I mean, you could sit, like right now, Neo's holding the bid at least. Oh, it's 346. 3 minutes till the imbalances as it's holding the bid. I was kind of looking to see if it could break that bottom. Maybe it flushes a little bit here. It is. Nick captures in the chat. It's a slippery slope.
Oh,
certainly.
It's not.
But I think we're past the point of acknowledging whether or not you're going to have tit for tat and back and forth. We're already there. So.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say that's a great move.
There, yeah.
It's just like I never even read an article. Like I never saw anybody.
Nobody even rumored this.
Mentioning anything like.
He did? I didn't hear it. Okay, fine.
Okay, so there was some talk about that yesterday, but this is an absolutely wild, and I think it's just like a puffing your chest moment there. But wow, what a talk there. That is absolutely wild. The Yang ETF, I just wanted to call that up quickly. We are going to go to Adara. I just want to see, what is it 3X? So 3X bear right now. So that starts to go 51 to 55. That just jumped like 8%. Now it's coming back in as I guess people are probably looking at the legalities of that. And can the president just start delisting stocks out of nowhere? I think that would be, I don't know. All right, what's up, Adara?
I'll mention one more time here. I mentioned this earlier when I first did this throw, but Scott Bessent yesterday did an interview. He was asked, is the administration or are you considering any measures, for example, like having a situation where they remove these Chinese ADRs from these American exchanges? And so Scott Bessent at the time had said anything is on the table, but the final decision will be up to Trump. This was actually featured on our watch list for yesterday as well. So again, a recap. This is, of course, very shocking, but the idea of the Trump administration removing some of these Chinese ADRs from American exchanges is not entirely novel. And we did have a member of his admin talk about it as early as, or recently as yesterday. Back to you.
Okay, there we go. Well, if we have 90 seconds till the imbalances come out, maybe you'll get something on. I half expected to see FXI just show up on the imbalance locator out of nowhere, but it's not. It's still the same names. UMC, Pfizer there for 2.4 million to the sell side. UiPath there for 1.6. That must have been, this is from the morning because it's a Nasdaq. So ignore that one. We'll get the Nasdaq names as usual at 350. In the back of my mind, I feel like I might throw Alibaba to go along with the usual suspects on the off chance you get an imbalance. Excuse me, one of the Chinese ADRs. Wild news, I'm just saying to Sean, I still own some Alibaba, and the frustrating thing with it, it's in the money, but it just feels like Baba's turned into more of a trade these days and a very frustrating investment because I like their business, I like their valuation, I like so much about it, and just when it looks like you're about to get really paid off, that it's finally stabilized and good, everything falls apart. I did sell 2/3 of it one time on the way up, and then the second time when it broke trend. It's like, if you just trade this, if I was actually just pure trading it, I would have taken it all out when it lost to 50 on a stop. But maybe we are just headed back to those 80s and it could be a blessing in disguise. I don't know. At this point, that would be the silver lining. Because it's been a good buy, 75 to 80. So the silver lining could be maybe all this settles down and you get another chance to reload this thing under 80 bucks. That's about it, because it's still bleeding to the downside. We got a little bit of a bounce there. Now we're starting to come back in. I was looking at NEO for a punch to the low of the day, but the imbalance has come out first. NVIDIA, 3 million to the buy side. Apple, 1.8 million to the buy side as well. Those are two big ones. Broadcom, 1.3 buy. Tesla, 1.3 buy.
Jeez.
Amazon, 1.3 buy. So all buys. Cisco, 1.1 million to the buy side. So it's buy imbalances on the tech names and no imbalances on the Chinese ADRs.
Right, that's interesting.
Yeah, I guess trying to look to see if something would happen on NEO and Baba was wrong, and it's the same as usual. There goes NVIDIA. I mean, maybe 70-cent pop there on that imbalance. It wasn't huge.
I think it just goes to show you, we talked about this a couple, by the way, this is, what was the company on here again? Oh, Hive, that's right. Wonder how they're doing. Yeah, it just goes to show you never know where the market's going to go. Not just the imbalances. I just wanted to show you that. Like you didn't know. Shout out to the chat there. I thought I was joking when I was talking about yin and yang. But yeah, that's another one. So there is also yin as well and yang. And then we have FXI, of course, as well as we go. XLE. Apparently there was just, and maybe Adara. I know you're super busy, but I think I just heard something about sanctions on Iran again or something.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not seeing much about XLE right now, but either way, it doesn't really matter. The news is a forever, I don't know, budding thing here, and we never know where the stories are going to go. Sharif, Trump just mentioned delisting Chinese stocks if they don't participate. All right, just say what's up to my guy Sharif right there. All right, have a good evening, my guy. We'll see you tomorrow. Adara.
Hearing anything about sanctions in Iran, about 5 minutes ago, we heard that the U.S. was sanctioning China-based crude oil off of terminal Gongshua Zhoushan. That might have been what you heard there. But that's all I'm hearing with regards to sanctions. I'm not hearing anything about Iran as of right now anyway, and I do have the news in my ear. I also have the tweet deck. Also, though, OKLO was initially why I did this throw in the first place. Lots of volatility in this one. Seeing this report circulate on X. OKLO apparently has been named by the U.S. Department of Defense as one of the companies eligible to provide micro-reactor power systems for military bases. So OKLO with this Department of Defense related deal. Keep an eye on this one. If I do hear anything about Iran or anything like that, I'll let you know. But that is not something I'm seeing anything right now, guys.
All right, so we'll double check that. Thanks, Adara, for that. And like Adara said, like that, this is why we want to thank Adara for everything. I mean,
yes.
It's like if we need some clarification on something, Adara's here, and she's here for all of us. So thank you, Adara, one more time for all that hard work.
Make sure that everybody doesn't trade blind, because I can tell you there was a time when before X, before the news services.
That's for sure.
I remember when we started out, we would listen to the squawk on the NYSE floor. And if something went down, you only knew based on the price action, and maybe that squawk service maybe you'd hear a little bit later. And then eventually, when you started getting news squawks, it really changed the game. You know, like it's a big time game changer for sure. And that's why you're here, because you're not waiting 30 minutes for somebody to cover what's going on in Alibaba and talk about it. You see it in real time. I'm not happy it's going down here. NEO didn't end up. It's a little bit late in the day. Only 7 minutes to go here, 2 minutes till the bounce is probably flip. I just typed neon there, but NEO does not break that low, so there was no breakdown. I just felt like if it was going to get nasty, maybe we'll take a quick scalp trade breaking the low LOD, which maybe this happens overnight. It was a little bit of a double bottom. Seemed like an obvious breakdown spot, but I've canceled that order now. Baba's bouncing, NEO's bouncing, and there's only about 5 minutes left to go in the session. Don said they crushed it on OKLO today.
Nice.
Those were good. there were a lot of these smaller cap names that we really didn't watch, but that were technically like the big time movers, like the reversion on Oklo. Rigetti had one as well that you could have been playing in, and of course we talked about Qubit, QBTS. Some of those small cappers, fantastic. Oklo retracing through VWAP though after that spike, as Adair was mentioning.
All right, so Trade the Pool isn't just a new option for trading, it's a new mindset. For stock traders, forget the old rule book. Yeah, Oklo selected by one of the U.S. Defense for something. Trade the Pool isn't just a new mindset for stock traders. Forget the old rule book where big trades meant big risk. With Trade the Pool, you can trade real stocks with massive capital and only put down $47 to get started. Your loss is capped. Your profits, however, are unlimited. If this is about breaking barriers, not your bank account, then Trade the Pool is for you. If you're ready to trade big without the usual fear of losing it all, head over to tradethepool.com, scan the QR code, grab that 10% off with us here at Trader TV Live. So we will have Steve Thielman coming through. Yo, what's up, Fabian? Looking good in that red shirt there. Give a wave, Fabian. Everyone can see you. What's up, my guy? Over there. So, yeah, with only 5 minutes to go, the market be heading lower. What is Alibaba doing, you may ask? All right, I'll answer. Talking to myself again here. Yeah, still trying to go lower, but looks like it bounces off that Hyundai level. I'm going to get out of Intel now at 70. It's bounced back a little bit, right into there. If we can get out on this dip down in, we'll do that one more time. But yeah, it's been a while. Absolutely. I'm just going to punch out here at 73. So there we go. We finish our trade there on Intel. Great one to end the day. I hope all of you enjoyed your day today. It's been an absolutely roller coaster of emotions, of everything. You know, the market was up early, then down, and then well, never really up, but started going. Then we got hit in the middle of the day, and it looks like we get some new news now on China. I don't know, what is that?
Didi.
Yeah, I saw it was tanking.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's not. I was looking at it, but yeah, some of the Chinese ADRs, just talking about, like, here's another one, what about LKNCY? So let's look at Luckin Coffee and see what that's doing. Actually, not that much right there.
Didi's down 22%. That's all I was
just. What was Luckin down?
A little bit, but 22 points this is down. Some of these Chinese names are getting smoked, everybody.
Yeah, we also have, we had some Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac talk earlier on in the week. So we want to say, we actually saw Jeff Mendel today. Yeah, was in the building. So shout out to Jeff today. We tried to get him to come on, but he had to run.
He stepped on the midday
he said that.
For a little bit there. And talking about, they're picking up volume on Moon, and for good reason, because all of this extra volatility and news stories out the wazoo, you're getting great action in the aftermarket.
Right.
So it's literally not the aftermarket, the overnight market. So Blue Ocean
and talking about
OTC
Moon a bit?
Moon have been doing well. They did record numbers yesterday.
Boom. Wow.
We know traders here at Real Trading that we have access to Blue Ocean. They're trading things like Tesla. They're trading Alibaba sometimes. And there's good moves. NVIDIA as well, sometimes in the Blue Ocean market. I can actually show you like some of the... This is Tesla. I'm going to use an example here. This is Tesla on Blue Ocean. It does decent enough volume. There's literal trend trades. There's consolidations. Like there's all your regular stuff that's out there, but you have to have access to that market to be able to trade it there. But yeah, Tesla just an example. I just pulled that one up for. We talk about it all the time, and I realized I can actually show you those charts because we have it at Real Trading. So I figured I should do that. Great bounce here for Alibaba. Who knows how serious this is, but I think approaching tomorrow, I don't want to be thinking, you never want to be thinking against like your long-term position, but it's hard not to be thinking short on Baba. Was already thinking it as long as it's underneath 110, and it's certainly going to be doing that again today. I wouldn't be shorting this pop because you're not holding it overnight, but it's not a good look. The threat is just not a good look until you get some deal announced. Until then, all these names are going to be under pressure. Some doing better than others on this bounce. I'd note Baba's is actually a little bit better than some of the other names I saw. Like PDD, well, I mean, it could be doing better now, but Pinduoduo, Pinduoduo's still underneath the prior low, whereas Baba's bouncing back. So I'd say PDD having a little bit rougher of a time than Alibaba.
All right, again, big thank you to Long This. A big thank you to everybody that's been watching us there today. I got to go over to the main desk. We will have Scott Thielman coming through from Trade the Pool. So join Adair and I. No real earnings. We'll talk a little bit about the banks. We'll go over some sectors. We haven't covered too many sectors here today. So we'll look at, what was moving around. We just looked at some of the banks, the XLF. We looked at some oil. We looked at China. So there's been some coverage there, and we'll talk more about that here coming up right now. So yeah, look, it's just going to be one of those days here today, again, into the close. Let's have a quick look at where Apple's going. 190 and change. All right, I'm going to go back over to the desk. Neil will take you in. Only 50 more seconds left, and then we'll go from there. So see everybody in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, great one for sure. I love that. That's actually a really sharp-looking cap, the red. I like that. It's more of like a maroon. But it just looks
nice. Yeah, it is maroon, I think.
It is nice. Yeah, it's more of a maroon. But, it's interesting that Baba is just continuing to bounce in here, like a little bit of a relief rally. It just goes to show, that seems like a really big threat. It seems like a really big negative story on a stock that was already weak today, but they're buying it up going into the close. Some of it makes you wonder, who's the program buying here over in Alibaba? I don't know. I'm just old school. With only 10 seconds. I like to be in the direction of the move, if anything else, especially when it's bad news. But let's get to the bell, brought to you by Worksport WKSP on the Nasdaq. Ringing it, Era. And now I almost said Wednesday, but it's Thursday. Our Thursday is over, and what an unbelievable day it was again. Anybody thought that we were going to fill in the gap and then catch a monster bid and then pull back, or that's just a Qs, or like XLE, fill in the entirety of the gap, go. This is tradable, everybody. XLE went right to VWAP and then right back to low of the day and just showed you the resistance. Never traded it before, but that's not a bad look there for sure. Look, what we've learned, and I think we all understand this, is you don't know what headline is going to come next. And it's not that you're chasing headlines, but you do want to be ready to react to them. You want to make sure, some people have said don't use stops, that you want to make sure you have yourself protected. I would say use stops so that you're never in that pressure moment of big news hits, and maybe you're distracted or for whatever reason. We've seen the moves that can happen in a single moment in this market, but it does provide ample opportunity. The volatility has been great for trading. There's just no way around it, even if it sucks for some people's long-term accounts, everyone's long-term accounts, generally speaking. But a big shout out to Long This and to Nimrod. Appreciate everybody in the chat for sure. Big shout out to the team this morning, because there were some technical difficulties, and Andre, Fabian, Mark, Rob, Randy, they were doing all a fantastic job to get us up and running, and we had a fantastic day. Big shout out, of course, always to the Midday Boys, to my man Sean, to Dara, to Brendo, everyone working hard to make sure that we give you guys the best show possible, and Obi in the back as well. But should be a fun aftermarket show, everybody. There's a lot to cover. A boatload of ETFs that did ridiculous moves 2 days in a row, and now all of a sudden, we have to deal with the possibility of Chinese ADRs getting delisted. There's just so much to look at, everybody. Have fun doing it with the Profit X recap show. Let's go, boys and girls.
Yeah, you're right about that. Thank you, Neil, for that. And yeah, you are now locked in to the Profit X recap show. You've seen a lot of me today. You've heard a lot of me today. We are very, very pleased and honored to be next to Miss Adara. So Adara, how are you doing into this violent and aggressive news day?
Yeah, it's been a lot. I am tired. I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all. It's been a tiring day. Markets did a lot of things. We did a lot of talks. We heard a lot about,
Is that your
China?
drawl now? You said y'all. I've never heard you say y'all.
No, I say y'all occasionally.
Oh, do you say y'all occasionally?
I am
like
from
that.
the Canadian equivalent of the Midwest. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I do occasionally say y'all, at least in a casual basis.
Joking, not joking.
Pardon?
Joking, not joking.
Joking, not joking. Maybe not. We'll never know. But thank you all very much for being here today. And thank you all for the support in the chat as well for the news. Try to give it to you guys as quickly as possible every time. And I have to say, again, I want to echo, this Alibaba related, this China report was actually not that surprising to me, because we did have Scott Bassett. Well, he was asked about it yesterday, and he said anything is on the table, which is actually his response to a lot of questions, but that's not the point. He was asked, what will you guys do? Chinese ADRs being on the American Stock Exchange. He said anything is on the table. Trump would obviously, have the ultimate say if it's going to stay or not. But he said it's definitely an option. right? So to me, I have to say I wasn't not that shocked by this. But I guess my thinking is if reporters are thinking about this enough to ask Scott Bessent in the first place, it makes sense the administration's floating this. And it's also worth noting, there's become a trend recently too, Sean, of people, like when I say people, I mean business people or reporters bringing things up and the administration taking these comments as like legitimate advice. So for example, Bill Ackman was initially floating around that 90-day tariff. Then we had a reporter ask Kevin Hassett about it. Then it was falsely reported that Trump was considering it. Then that was fake news. Then Trump actually announces a 90-day pause. So, and same thing with when he was asked, why did you do this now? He's like, well, I heard Jamie Dimon talking. Like Trump really does
I heard
reporters and business leaders seriously. So with that in mind, I would say any type of I think specifically tariff or China-related headline, if you see a reporter talking about it or asking it, if you see a billionaire talking about it or asking it, remember it. Because we've noticed this really is coming back to haunt us in a way.
And you're completely right about that. Yesterday we heard Trump actually came out and mentioned that, he was watching an interview there with Jamie Dimon, and that's when he said the market was getting a little bit yippy. Whatever that means. Neil brought to our attention, and actually
more news too.
More news? Go, keep interrupting.
So,
Let's go.
Apparently the president of the European Union Commission here saying the EU could tax big tech if Trump trade talks fail. That's reported by Financial Times. So apparently the EU looking to tax big tech with regards to these Trump trade talks. This headline sounds like it was written by Dr. Seuss. It's an alliteration, but the point remains the same. We do have to be aware here. EU looking to tax some of these big tech players apparently.
Dr. Zeus. Cat in the hat, and I don't know about that. But right here, Neil brought this up. Didi, there at the end of the day, down 14% right now. It did have a move back at the end of the day, but there's a big move. And again, you talk about a China, and I think this might have just been also technical because we broke down below the 200 period moving average and then fell right back in again into last summer's levels there for DIY. Again, this is a ride share company, I believe, anyways, there in China. You guys can help me out with that one. Was at one point on the Nasdaq, delisted as well. So just a couple names there that's happened today. Alibaba only down 1% on that news, so maybe there isn't too much there. Remember, all of these do trade on the other side. I thought maybe I had my wire out there. These all trade in China, right, on the Hang Seng. So there's going to be love for those names. Check out Blue Ocean, check out Moon, and all of that overnight. You know, a lot of companies now, especially whoever your broker is, probably does have 24-hour trading or close enough to that as well. But there goes Alibaba. Let's have a quick look to see what the Qs are doing. You brought that news that potentially the EU may or may not tax big tech.
Well, now they're saying they're developing retaliatory measures. That just came out.
It's almost like you can't even get the story out, and then there's a new story. But to your point, everyone's reporting everything now. So I think that's where we have to, stay here with Trader TV Live, because if you just go through every tweet, one part of the administration would say something else, and then someone at the other end of the boardroom would say, and then they got to come to the middle. There's only one man that's going to make the decisions here, and that of course will be Donald, and we'll figure out where it goes from there. But it doesn't look like just because we're talking tech, it doesn't look like there's anything going on right now. And then, of course, we did have that late talk there about Canada and us saying that we're not backing down either. So we're going to wait to see what goes on there. Is Trump willing to make a deal? I believe yes. But you better do something about the energy department as well, because right now, I don't know who the head of energy is over there in the United States.
It's Chris Wright.
Adara knows Chris Wright. So we'll wait to hear if there's any comments, if they're going to talk about oil or what's going on right now. But XLE has absolutely gotten taken down. And when we talk about, maybe we'll look at a weekly chart here. When we'll talk about global recession fears, oil is a big problem. If we're not going to be producing everything in China anymore, then that's going to take a hit. These factories are running 24 hours a day, producing your iPhones, producing your shirts, producing your glasses, whatever, in China. So as you get some downside moves in plastics and whatnot, there goes oil, there goes some of that. So as we get to the downside, energy going to be in focus again, finally breaking the 200 period on the weekly. So this is a weekly chart. So we got to go all the way back to basically 23 levels, which is 2 years ago today in March. That's these levels that we're back at on XLE. We can also have a look at oil itself. USO dropping below on the weekly again as well, back into those same levels of early 23. So we'll have to wait to see if there's going to be a push and pull back for the US dollar. UUP, Adara, we talk sometimes about US dollar strength. It's not very strong at all here.
Not anymore. We did have some nice runs at the beginning of the year up for US dollar, actually peaking near decade highs for US dollar right there. Boom to the downside right now as we talk more uncertainty in the global economy. I still think US dollar is going to be king. Obviously, we could talk like that, but as you look at this is a bullish ETF fund right there for the UUP. TLT and rates been talked about as well over the last little while. We had 4.1 up to 4.3 in the Treasury. Now you're seeing this down, trying to break lower. Again, remember, we're looking at weeklies right now. This is bad for the TLT. Trying to get into some of these levels, $83. You can't park your money anywhere anymore. You can't get any kind of a return. Bonds not paying anything. Treasury not paying anything. This is a downside move. I do think oil's a buy at some of these levels. I want, actually, Neil and I talked about this. And again, whatever's happening in the world, that's fine. It's not fine, but oil with this kind of a move, I mean, we were just at, this is a daily chart. We were just at 95, this is daily, oh, it's TLT, my bad, XLE. We were just at, right here, 95 is what I was looking for. There it is. So we were at $95 back on April the 2nd. So that's Tariff Day. That's Liberation Day. We all feel so liberated. And there it is, $94 all the way down to $77. So you're now down almost 20% just in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks on oil. There has to be an opportunity there. One of the only green sectors, and we talked about this a couple days ago. I think we actually talked about this with Steve last Thursday. And I was like, hey, when's the last time we had any sort of a love like this, where we had a push down to gold into the 50-period moving average, gave you an opportunity to buy that, and boom, right there was the last time we were here back early on January the 10th is the last time we touched the 50-period moving average. We did it right there, up $20 on GLD. You don't see that very often either. So these markets, whenever the markets act suspect like this and where you get like moves that we don't normally see, I mean, look at the spiders. Look at the SPY here. This is the S&P 500 from top to bottom and then right back in again. Now we're sitting around halfway from yesterday's move. These markets are not healthy, right? We know that. They're sick right now. Whether or not they repair and get healed, we're going to find out very, very soon. But a healthy market kind of looks like this, where you're chopping around, you have upside, you have downside. When you have big swings like this, volatility is key, and you definitely want to be looking in the options market. We talked about this with Joe Writing. Premiums huge right now. You want to get physical gold and silver in a place in a day in these times. But you know what? Silver actually has had a rough time as well. COMX is, no, must not be COMX. There is an all metals ETF. I'm going to figure out, I forget what that is. But Dr. Copper is there as well. Is that COPX? Right there, yeah, the Global Coppers Miners ETF. Again, a nice downside push. We'll have Rahim Alani on next week, where we'll talk more about some metals with him and see what's going on. But copper downside, so we can look at FCX. Again, very, very similar to that of copper. So yeah, man, some nice downside moves in the metals sector lately, that is for sure. Uranium down today again, Adara. No love for that name. No love for the TAN. We did have some good moves today in EV land, but that doesn't mean we had some good moves in our EVs. We had Tesla down 6 and a bit % today as well, and then climbing there into the close, right up to the 200 period. Nice to see some extension into the close. So that was really good. Chinese EVs, NIO, again, NIO was having actually a great day until we got that Chinese headline there near the end of the day. Possible delist, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure about that story, Adair. Not that there's, I'm not sure about the story. I'm just not sure if that's what will happen at the end of the day. But anything else hitting on the wires here?
So our friend, Trump trade advisor, Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro has a little bit of a tendency to say things about the stock market when it is not having a good day. And when I mean say things, I mean he is usually like, oh, it's okay. We're good. At one point he said, oh, technical analysts are telling me that we're at the bottom, and they're probably right. Well, today, what he had to say was that this move to the downside is, quote, no big deal, and said that the yields coming down is great news. So once again, here we have the Trump administration saying they're either not watching the market or that we're likely to turn around at some point. So I think a comment to be aware of. Now, he also said that India, Australia, and the UK are all coming into the US, and they're going to get deals. So some talk here of potential deals coming through from Trump trade advisor Peter Navarro. It's also worth noting we had that cabinet meeting today. Elon Musk was actually at the cabinet meeting that we had today for Trump. And at the time, Trump was asked, have you looked at the stock market? He's like, well, no, I've been in this meeting all day. So, yeah, interesting note there. Certainly people continuing to want to know, are you looking at this market? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts here, we just scanned through a couple of charts as you were talking there. I went through some of the different semiconductor names. And I mean, my thoughts are Tesla's going to be a buy at 220. We hit 220, and then we bounced hard off that up to 280 yesterday. We haven't got back in there. If you're going to look at a daily chart for Tesla, and again, Peter Navarro and Elon Musk not seeing eye to eye on many issues lately. They had that Twitter beef over the weekend, and I think extended a little bit into earlier on in the week, and then not too much after that. But right there, 220. Looks like a good base there for Tesla. Now remember, man, a lot of people stressed out about Tesla, but all we have to do is say that this is 04, 09, 25. Last year, 04, 09, 25. We were at $190. We are still up to 254. There are not many names that are up from where they were as of last year. I mean, sure, you're going to get Google is in and around flat of where we were year over year as well. So they're still up. Meta had a big move down, but nicely up back now, back to the upside. Look at the 200 period moving average. Although today, obviously down 7%, but you didn't get too many saving graces. Yesterday, you got one for Meta as we were all the way down, and you're like, what have I done with myself? And then boom, up $120. Right back to the upside goes Meta, giving you that opportunity to get out. This is the thing, Adara. All of us can say whatever we want. We're going to have Steve on here. We had Brian Shannon on earlier on in the week. We have Michael Noss. Everybody just talking. And the thing is that until you actually pull the trigger on something, and what I'm talking about with talking is I'm not ready. We talked to Brian Shannon yesterday. Who's ready to actually put some money into this market? I think there's a lot of people still on the sidelines, Adara, waiting for maybe even a bigger flush than what we've seen. So I don't really know where we're going here with the market and how much confidence some of these longs actually have.
Well, there's one stock that's actually near all-time highs, and that's UNH. So I want to talk about that because there are some stocks that are doing decently. Obviously, these health insurance names have really been helped by the fact that we did have early today, apparently Medicare, this came out earlier this week, they're going to be quite higher here under the new administration than what we were expecting with the old administration. Some of these Medicare, I guess, premiums or advantages were a good look. If you look at this monthly chart, or this is the yearly chart for UNH that I have up here, we continue to bounce off this level here, this 440, and then we end up breaking out of it now. So like for the last
Wait a minute, what is that chart?
4 years, this is the UNH yearly chart.
Okay.
I have some lines drawn on it, but either way, you can see here the support line at this 440. We bounce off nicely. Right now, we're just below 600. All-time highs here are going to be around 630. So we have UNH, great breakout pattern on the daily, great breakout pattern on the yearly. And yeah, I like this right now. If you're looking for longs, I'm not by no means advice, but this was one of my picks for the Jimmy Carter picks. So UNH was one of mine. And I really do think this is a pretty nice look. Although it does tend to move if there's any news about the Luigi Mangione trial. So if that comes out, be aware. But yeah, interesting look.
Yeah, I mean, nice move. As you mentioned, we don't get too many of these names that are a green year to date. So nice. Oh, yeah. And plus, good look on yearly chart. So interesting there, breaking out. And again, yeah, a Dow hero. We saw the Dow actually move over 2,900 points yesterday. All right, actually, I got to load up Stream Deck over here just real quickly. So let me just do that. And then we can call up our guest of the day as we are of the after show. Remember, this market recap show is brought to you by Profit X. We give a big shout out to Profit X and thank you for sponsoring our show. As now my screen and everything is completely frozen over here. But we're going to get ready to go because we've got our guest ready. So let's go. It's Trader Talk. All right, an absolutely wild day. Steve Thielman coming to us from Trade the Pool. We want to thank you for coming to Trader TV Live one more time now. Everybody loves you in the chat. Thank you for coming back. We had some great talks over the last couple weeks. And again, now today, I mean, Steve, like, I never know what we're going to talk about because there's so much to cover. What a day yesterday. 2,900 points on the Dow. What was your feeling there? Were you caught short? Were you long? Were you flat? What were you guys doing over there at Trade the Pool? Any opinions on that rip yesterday? And then we'll talk about today.
Oh yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me on. Wild trading action. I was going a little crazy in my private server. Like this might be the wildest price action I've ever seen intraday. And I feel like I've said that 3 times this week now.
Yep.
You know, so it's wild. I have been positioned relatively short, as we talked about last week.
Right.
I covered a lot of that into the 480 level that I had mentioned. So that's a big level for me. We front ran it, and that was a sign of strength for me at that level. I covered most of my shorts. I'll be completely honest. I missed a good amount of yesterday's rally because I was relatively net neutral. My longs are outperforming, but it didn't feel great at the end of the day. It feels a little better after today, I will say.
Okay, did we want to, I mean, I do remember you coming last week and we did talk about that 480 level. I have no idea how you nailed that almost to the exact dollar. The low there on the SPY looks like 481, 482 and change, 41.89 or so yesterday. So again, a great level to look at for the SPY. So look, you can't just make calls like that, Steve, and then not get me to ask you what the next call is. So you talked about today. This is the problem. Look, I feel this every day, man. Today we had over 15,000 watching us at one point. We have over 4,500 right now, and the gun is always turned at us when we're making trades, so we got to stick our neck out. So I'm going to ask you there. Obviously, you're trading the SPY and you're looking at the S&P 500. So let's just say that, you know, some of this stuff, the dust settles a little bit. We're coming into bank earnings now. We're coming into earnings season. Let's just pretend this 90-day pause actually happens and we get that pause for 90 days. There's going to be a little deal making in and out. So we do know that the market is headline risk specific, very much so. You got that China news at the end of the day today. But let's just pretend that the market just does its thing here. What kind of target are you looking for on the SPY right now? Can you give me an upside and maybe a downside? Do you think we go back into 480? And is there anything for a bull case? Can we get back to that 200 period, which would actually be here at 575?
Yeah. Okay. So lots to talk about. First, I'll give the upside. The caveat is I'm still bias bearish. Today's price action was not what we were looking for. For bulls, we would want to see tightening volatility, not continued high volatility. So I think that conditions are not quite ready for a big move up. With these giant bull market or bear market rallies, they can be violent, like we saw yesterday. Upside targets, I'm looking for 550, and then, as you know, I love the 200. So that would be a big stretch target, but I think it is in the realm of possibility. In terms of downside targets, I think that if we lose the low of today, that is the 50% fib of yesterday's intraday range. That's the level I was watching. That's where I covered my shorts today. I think that if we lose that, the door opens to, let me check my notes here. I have levels for y'all. We got 480, the big one. That's what I'm really watching. And that is the multi-year high on the yearly chart. It's really good stuff there. And after that, 450 is a big level, and 420 as well. I think the meme level might be in play, honestly.
I had to zoom out to get some of those levels there. And yeah, we had Brian Shannon of Alpha Trends on yesterday, and I couldn't get the guy to tell me he wants to buy anything. So right now it is looking like we want to have, that he was on Tuesday actually, a nice downside move there. But I'm just going to throw to Adara quickly because we did have some quick Fed speak, and then we'll come right back to Steve. So what's going on, Adara?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, guys, Fed's Collins talking right now, and some of these comments I was saying to Sean here are pretty hawkish. Fed's Collins saying that tariffs could push core inflation well above 3% this year, and renewed price pressures could delay rate cuts. Also saying the Fed might not or may yet find spaces to lower rates this year. But again, just focusing on the fact that we could get core inflation well above 3%, and there could be delayed rate cuts. Something to note there.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Adara. Yeah, we don't like to see inflation too much. I mean, Steve, we did get that good print this morning, right? We did see CPI a little cooler than expected. I thought that would have maybe rallied the market a little bit, but I don't think we're worried too much about economic data nowadays. Do you think we are?
I don't think it's that economic data, if anything. I think that the trajectory we're on is still pretty set in stone, even if we take into account the 90-day pause on the higher tariff rates. We still have high flat tariff rates here, and there's kind of like three drivers, three negative growth drivers. There's that. We also have Trump's immigration policy. You know, it could have effects on our labor force, and, you know, obviously higher inflation and some fiscal drag there because less taxpayers paying money. We also have a fiscal policy. You know, we're kind of at unsustainable debt here. We have, interest costs going on and inflation pressures still driven by stimulus, I'd say. So it's kind of a trifecta, and shout out to Wendy if you're watching for helping walk me through that. But that's my understanding, at least.
Okay, that's great. Where, Steve? I mean, people in the chat are loving this. Where can everyone find you? Is there a Twitter handle that you go by? You on StockTwits? Where can people go talk to Steve Thielman?
Yeah, I don't have much of a Twitter presence right now. We'll be working towards that.
Okay.
Right now, I'm under @JustyTrades, JUSTYTRADS.
Perfect. We'll get that. We'll get that on the bumper. I just want to. You could say that out. People can rewind. Justy Trades. We'll get that on the bumper for you next week. Okay. Look, I don't know if you're an energy guy. We just talked a little bit about S&P 500. I feel like I can ask you about anything. What vehicle do you like to trade if we're talking energy? Do you prefer stocks like an XOM or a CVX? That way you sort of get some push and pull from the SPY as well. Are you looking at a USO, XLE? Is there anything, or just straight energy contracts, maybe with crude themselves, or nat gas? I mean, basically, I'm opening the floor up to you right now. What do you like in the energy space? Do you have any opinions on what's going on right now as we debate 50-50, depending on who you're talking about, if we're getting into that recession or not?
Oh man, you had asked me the tough questions, didn't you? So I'm not a big energy trader, to be completely honest. I've taken my lumps in the energy sector. There's so many factors, and it's so geopolitically sensitive. I do see some big deals here, just in terms of how far things have gone down. We have the recession risks, but we also have geopolitical risks with rising tensions in Iran, and I'm really not sure how to read it. So I'm kind of keeping my hands and feet inside the car right now and not taking too many stabs there. But when I do trade it, I like the big boys. I like Chevron. I like Exxon. I think that they have some cushion and some, they're a little less sensitive, especially Exxon, since they're kind of a dividend monster as well if things turn down. So those are the names I'd be looking at. I also like natural gas. It's such a volatile space, though. A few names that I'd be watching there are NEXT is fun. I believe EPD and there's one other, but I'm blanking on it right now, to be honest. But there's a few to keep an eye on.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Again, Steve, we have some people in the chat asking where they can find you on social media so they can follow your plays. Do you have any kind of social media or anywhere we can look at your plays? Justy Trades. Yes. Nice.
Yeah, and that name may change, but there's a link to my Discord server as well. It's all free to join, and we have some really smart traders there. So I'd love to see some more new faces. That'd be great. I appreciate the plug there.
Good. Oh, ask about UNH.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we were just looking at the UNH chart there. Do you have any take on UNH here? Because I was saying I really like the yearly as well. We, on a couple different long-term time frames, we've continuously held that 440 level. And I mean, this one obviously does have some risks. It does tend to move whenever we have a headline about Luigi Mangione, who, of course, is been accused of killing the United Healthcare CEO. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this chart right now? Because it's near all-time highs.
Right, I heard you mention it. So flowers to you, Adara. We're 100% on the same page. And also, I love that you're looking at yearly charts. I do this a lot. People are like, price memory doesn't last that long. Absolutely does. This is a great example of it. So I'm long a small position off the back test of the 200-day. I sure wish I had more, though. What a mover.
Yeah, UNH, thanks, Steve, for that. Yeah, UNH, absolutely wild. I mean, XLV, ETF, again, on the monthly, that's still trying to hold out as well. I do think that there is some value, and I'm glad Adara brought up the yearly there as well as monthly charts, because I think there's some value to just calming the you-know-what down. And I think that when we sort of zoom back out, you can see that there's been, although dramatic moves lately in the market, when we sort of just hold out fact that, hey, just trust in, not just in America, but just in capitalism in general, and the fact that, the markets do eventually tend to go one way if you're buying good companies, and especially healthcare. I mean, population's not changing. We're getting older, that is for sure, and population growing. There's going to be more to that, but as you look on the daily chart, we do have that move down. Okay, UNH is great. Eli Lilly, another great name if we're talking about some of the biotechs, but XBI has been really hit to the downside as well. Any thoughts on the Russell here, Steve? Because IWM, I mean, this might be one of those other names that we should go over to a weekly chart as well. Well under the 200 that I know you like, under the 50 as well. But guess what? We're coming into a great support level for IWM. If indeed the Fed is on pace to either hold fort, maybe a couple cuts this year, does that at all affect the IWM? A lot of traders like trading the Russell. How about you?
I like trading it to the downside, let me tell you.
Okay.
It's been easy money for the most part. You're right. It is trading into a support zone, so I'm keeping an eye on it. In general, I don't like things that are trading back at 2018 levels. That's a warning sign for me. So it's a little bit tough. It's a little bit tough to say, honestly. It's rough out there for the small cap boys, and I feel for them. But it looks like a pretty classic double top to me with room below. We got to see how it negotiates the support zone that you mentioned, though.
Yeah, I actually love that double top as well. Wow, look at that. Wicked even to the top of 245. Unbelievable. And you bring up to 2018. Yeah, you're not far away from that when you're right here. Oh, you want to know another name that's been really a disaster? You want to talk about 2018. I wish I could zoom out even further than this. This trade ideas chart isn't going back too much further. But right there, Intel, back to 2010. You can even go way further than this on Intel. My chart won't go back too further than this. But $18.60. You like anything in the semis? I mean, NVIDIA here on the monthly pulling back nicely as well. I was saying to everybody, what about 88, 89? If we get a retest back down to those levels. NVIDIA still the largest market cap out there. We'll see if it can hold those levels. NVIDIA there as well. AMD downside. And a name that I thought I liked that we really haven't pulled any triggers on, Marvell as well, man. Some of these names are getting absolutely taken to school. And then SOXL is the aggressive, the 3 times levered ETF as well. This name, oh boy. Wow, Steve, you want to talk about 2017? That's back here right now for SOXL. Are we buying any of these dips, or what? How do we know when maybe the bottom is in? Do we know that? Do we wait for capitulated volume? I don't know. These things look beat up to me.
It's rough, right? Because they're down so much, and they were the leaders of the previous sector or the previous market cycle. So it's so hard not to pull the trigger. I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I'm looking to DCA, dollar cost average, into really quality names. I have a very small amount of NVIDIA that's doing well. I sure wish I had more, but at the same time, with how choppy everything is, it feels good to have a large cash position. So NVIDIA, I'm looking at. TSM, I think, is another high quality name. Besides that, though, last week we talked about the weakness in SMH. So SOXS has been my main shorting vehicle. I took a lot of profits yesterday. I got back in today. So That's where my head's at. I'll be honest with you,
Oh my God. Yeah, well, your head is definitely screwed on tightly there, because this is a huge, you might just hear me say, whoa, I didn't even look at this SOX S trade. You nailed that one if you've been thinking short on that, man. $50 3 days ago, all the way down to $20, even lower than that. Nice little bounce back today. That is SOX S. Okay, Steve, thank you so much. Anything you want to talk about with Trade the Pool? What's going on? Are you on there daily? Anything to talk about on that front?
Well, you can catch me every Tuesday on with the great Mitch, and I know you guys know Michael Naus as well. Great guys. We have a lot of fun. I'd love it if people came and joined us, but I know you guys got a great show going too. So that's where you'll find me, and also in the Discord as well. You can always give me a ping there.
Great, perfect. Yeah, I think Mitch is on actually every Tuesday morning with us as well. So we'll give a shout out to you then. So Steve, thank you so much for joining us and going over some of these, major ETFs and major spaces as well. Have an absolutely exciting week, maybe. I mean, I think that as long as we're trading, that should be the truth. So thank you, Steve. Again, Steve Thielman, analyst with Trade the Pool. Go check him out. Thanks, Steve. Have a great night.
Thanks. And really quick. I'm sorry.
Stay with me. What's up?
Apologies there. Just letting you know, if anybody wants to, I am hosting a webinar in about 15 minutes, probably 10 minutes, and we'll be talking about when to buy the crash. So that'll be fun too.
All right, so go Justy Trades right there. Go find that. Put the link up there, Steve, and let's see how many we get. Thank you so much. That's Steve Thielman. Get out of here now. Go host that. We'll see you. See you later, my friend. Bye-bye. Stock Blitz. How you like that little bumper?
I do. It's fun. It's a nice way to end things off. And
that was a good one there. You know what I almost said to Steve? Like, Minecraft, the guy's name is Steve.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know Minecraft at all.
Jack Black.
Oh, is that who Jack Black plays in that movie?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. All the kids are going crazy for Steve.
Have you seen that Christmas movie where Jack Black plays the devil? Because it came on Amazon this year. It's actually so good.
Really? Man, I wish I would have. Is it a kid's movie?
Yeah, it's called Dear Santa, but it's because this kid has dyslexia. So he thinks that he accidentally writes Dear Satan. So then Jack Black
pretends. So he is Satan.
Yeah, but he pretends to be Santa. And so then, it's actually really funny. And then Post Malone plays himself. It's for what it is.
Okay, we'll check that out. So it is a kid's movie.
It's a kid. Well, it's like a family.
Yeah, family. Okay, I'm surprised that didn't hit my radar. Okay, we got one more thing to do, and it's called roll call. All right, there's lots of people in the chat that are looking for that link from Steve. So there it is right there. Oh, I thought it was Thielman. You're pronouncing his name wrong. Okay, well, my bad. I thought it was Thielman. Right there. All right, big shout out to everybody that's here. Butter Biscuit Head. There we go. Thanks for correcting me. I'll get that back from him. Thank you so much. Jack Black is right there. Thanks to Norman Special. Nephew Capital is here. Drops Trades is here. Mr. Easy Street. IR Wit. Norman Special. Charlie, thank you. Yeah, Chicken Jockey Chaos. I went to see that movie
The preview on the Thursday, the audience wasn't going that crazy for pretty much for anything, but we loved that chicken jockey. That was hilarious. I really think that's a great movie, man. So thank you all of that for sure. Norman Special, we already said what's up to you. Mo is here, Erie Pages, thank you so much. Thank you to Long This and everybody that had some super chats going through today. Dara, say hi to a couple people.
Hi, Daryl Flint. Hi, Save Man, Woman Peace. Hi, D. Westmeyer. Never, always, ever. Jason Raybon, JVG, Bristol, TH. We've got Ian Rispetto. We have Bears versus Bulls. We've got Hugh. I'm just going to say Hugh. Scott Tomlinson, Peanut, Brendan Townsend, Mean Gene, Got Rats, Patrick Irving, and Callie, Fortune, Marie. And we'll see you all tomorrow.
Dan?
Probably more news that has me scared to leave the desk for any purpose because the headline might come in.
All right. Thank you to Daniel McEwen. He says hi to both of us. Okay. This is a Fed member. Who's your favorite?
Okay. Have you ever a Fed member? I like Goolsby.
Goolsby. Boom, bang. All right, Fed's Goolsby. Thank you so much for...
Oh, no.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. We're back tomorrow at 8:30 for Daryl LePage. I'm Sean Cattina. That's Fabian. We do have Brendan, Neil, Sharif, Joe, Bears vs. Bulls. Everybody's here. Obi, we're all in the building, and we'll all be back. Obi, put your hand up. Where's Obi? Is he at his desk? Oh, he's not here yet. Okay, well, scratch that. Obi's not here. All right, thank you to everybody. We'll see everybody tomorrow at 8:30. Until then, have yourselves a fantastic evening. Ciao.
See ya.